bullet big enough I could think of really like off the top of my head would be like I said, this 50 cal round because of the size of it, and then I'd be really sad that I wasn't getting shot with a 50 cal round. I'd be stabbed with it. So I kind of feel like I'd have to feel both like happy they're saving their money and sad I'm not getting shot with it.
Yeah, like you'd end up respecting the you know the hustle, respect the tactical strategy behind it, but also you feel kind of disappointed. It's like, hey, like why would you stab me with a bullet? I feel like this is just utter disrespect.
This topic, after I asked if we wanted to go live with a pre-show, this topic made me press start streaming, by the way. Just so you know. Would it be more insulting if someone stabbed you instead of shot you with a bullet? Good lord.
I mean, like, okay, so I put a picture of the 50 cal round, right? Like, it's perfect to stab people with. It's just big enough to where you could stab somebody with it, right? And the point of it, or whatever, seeing as it's a bullet and meant to penetrate, it does kind of hurt if you hit someone with it. Like, if I press it into my skin, it does hurt. So, like, I feel like with enough force, I could make it go into somebody. But then, you know, it comes back to, would they be sad that I'm stabbing them with it and not shooting them, or?
Potentially. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that being a thing. I'm showing the stream this bullet. The thing you stab someone with.
I mean, even regardless, I would have to actually stab this into somebody if I wanted to use it. I don't have a 50 cal gun.
No.
Yeah, my biggest is a 357. I want a 50 cal though.
Hey, that's fair. Very fair.
I can't be okay with just being stabbed by a bullet. I feel like it's just disrespectful. Like there's just always gonna be a part of me that feels completely disrespected by it. And
I mean, I get it. I do. I'd be very sad too. Like, disregard the fact that I've been stabbed. Like, we're going to take this out of the picture here because, you know, but if someone run up to me and they was like, fuck you too, dude, and just stabbed me with a bullet, I would feel pretty sad about it. So I totally get it. I do.
It's inversely, just a bit of a, I guess we continue this tangent. If you had the reverse where someone shoots you with a knife, like, how does that track in your mind?
Dude, I was just about to ask that. I was about to be like, well, what happens if you load like a cannon or something like that up with a bunch of knives and like you blast them at somebody?
Yeah, at that point, I think that one hits me differently because that's just a strategic use of a knife, and you just made a knife, you know, a projectile, and you know, more power to you at that point.
Hey, it's all about the effort you put in.
Yeah, it's that, and I think just the perspective.
You could also use throwing knives. You could throw throwing knives at them as well, and then it would be a projectile knife. Maybe not as cool, but it would still be one.
It would fit the category. Like, I'm watching you setting up all of these
tabs.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's almost envy, because if I had this many tabs running, my laptop would probably explode.
Hey, it's fair.
I don't feel envy for this many tabs. I hate having too many tabs open.
I do this to Enfu every week. He has to witness this not even every week. Like, a way we get guests is by looking at Twitch. We go on Twitch journeys for hours, and I'll open up a ton of tabs for categories.
It's actually controlled chaos, and I hate it so much. So many tabs.
I think the only time I ever open up an insane amount of tabs is if, for example, I'm scrolling through my YouTube sub feed and I'm pulling out all of the videos I know I want to watch, so I kind of just get those going and ready. And
Did you say for YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm 22, and I feel old at times because I don't always adapt to the new changes with these things. But I've been using YouTube's queue more. That way you don't have to open up multiple tabs, and it just autoplays them.
So, I'm just rebellious in that regard because I've used it, and sometimes I'll use it by accident, and I'm like, ooh, no, get away. I need my 50 tabs and my slow laptop.
That's fair.
I just, if I see a video that I think I'm gonna want to watch, I just right click on it, open it in a new tab, and watch it, and then close back out. So that way, I don't have to have a bunch of tabs open. I got to watch the video, and I don't lose my place on YouTube.
That's fair as well. I guess my smarter alternative that I would do for myself is just add them to the watch later playlist, and then go there, let that play, and then I guess that works like the queue. So
very true. Very true.
The job gets done one way or another.
I don't know if you've seen that picture that I put in BS Notes last night, Wes, but they actually turned the whole. I see the Microsoft thing on the screen, but they actually went and made a Xbox Series X fridge.
I seen that. You know what?
It did.
That's wait. I just realized, isn't the person in that, what's her name? She's a YouTuber. Been a YouTuber, right? For like a decade plus?
Who, the person in the picture?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Hold on, I'm gonna show the stream. Maybe someone in the stream will know YouTube as better than I do. I recognize the face, but I don't recognize the person.
Oh yeah, that's Justine.
Yes, Justine. She does so many different channels over the years. Yes.
It really made a fridge. Wow.
They did.
Hey, when in doubt, you gotta make a fridge.
Gotta embrace your meme one way or another, right?
Now here's the question. Do you remove the shelves and turn the Xbox fridge into an Xbox coffin?
I mean, it'd be a way to go.
Why not?
You use it as a fridge, while you're there. And when you feel yourself going, get it prepped. Maybe get it cleaned out, remove the shelves, get it converted.
Makes sense. Info, did you see the topics I posted not long ago?
Was unaware you did that. I'll go look.
I did. I added, 5 to think over.
Xbox Series Death is a wonderful name.
I mean, I'm good with all these.
Okay. I like how you said you're good with all of them, and you go through the effort to press on everything but the last one, and you just verbally acknowledge that one.
Okay, so I was reading it, and then, like, part of me was kind of like, I seen the crab, and I was like, yo, I kind of agree with that crab. I don't really care about the topic that much, but then it's like, at the same time, it's like, it's rabbits, and they're kind of cute. And I disagree. I disagree with this person just because of the title itself.
That's what I love about the debate.
Yeah, the title was a bit aggressive. When I saw it, I was like, oof, this person stepping on some feet.
I know, gonna have to go break his toes. How dare.
Thank you, Billa, for 6 months of subscribing. 6 months. Billa is gonna come both old in real life and old as a Twitch sub. This is his future. I wish that for the podcast, both of you could hear my alert sound. Cause my sub alert is literally in Endgame where Thanos says I am inevitable. It's just that.
That's good.
And all my alerts are some nonsense from something. Because I got so freaking sick of the generic stuff that I had to go wild and just do other things. I couldn't stay with the generic stuff anymore.
Yeah, I think I gotta dive into that boat as well. I have a few things like in mind. I just haven't done it yet. Being the hooligan that I am, but they will be swapped eventually. I promise.
Yeah, I held off a lot as well. But once you have them added in, and you're like half paying attention to something, and then you hear it, it gets a laugh out of me every time.
Yeah, I gotta choose some good ones so that I can have that reaction.
And always make sure to have like triple what you need so you can swap them out over time.
Right. Keep it spicy.
Yes. If something starts to feel old, you throw it out, you get something fresh. If people start complaining about one of them, throw it out, replace it with something else that you like. Bam. Easy.
Yo, that Reddit advertisement for R Rate My Tea is looking pretty spicy.
Do you love tea, milk and sugar, black? Do you want to win tea-themed prizes? Join us at Rate My Tea. Do we want to go on an impromptu look at Rate My Tea?
I kind of do. I want to see if the Spiffy Brit's on there.
Let's give it a peek.
All right. I'm gonna open the subreddit just to make sure it's not secretly something it doesn't need to be. Okay, it looks like actual tea. I'm gonna quickly scroll through and make sure it's actually all just tea. Okay, I think it's safe to say it's all just tea. I'm gonna go top all time, and we're gonna explore this.
I'm not a huge tea person myself, but to those who drink tea,
I don't drink a lot of tea either.
Never been a fan of warm flavored water, but
warm water, non-dairy creamer, and floor sweepings in a paper cup on United Airlines. Is that even house? I'm not sure this super is the tea I envision.
I'm not so sure that's tea. He said it's floor sweepings. That's terrifying. He just found some tea laying on the floor and was like, well, fuck, let's put it in a cup.
That's the top post of all time on the subreddit.
I'd believe it.
The next one is also not about tea, it's just...
It's not, but it's a teacup, and I appreciate that.
It's tea adjacent. We can accept this one.
That's fair. Tea ceremony. What? Ice, matcha, no sugar, no milk, no whisk to a froth. I don't know why I have a gigantic white bar down here now. With traditional Japanese rice sponge cake with adzuki, red bean, and sweet white bean with my black cat tea pet.
This kind of looks like something a witch would whip up on Halloween.
When was this posted? A year ago?
Maybe it was. I mean, so matcha is green tea. So that's basically like, it's basically just green tea. I don't know why they said it's whisked to a froth. That's not frothy, but I mean, whatever. And then they have the sponge cake. I'll give it that. I don't see the adzuki bullshit. Maybe it is frothy. Actually, yeah,
it kind of looks frothy. Yeah,
it kind of does when you zoom in. Yeah, okay.
It's just not a high enough quality picture to really see the frothiness.
Or it's not a high enough quality froth.
True.
It might be lacking in the froth department.
Get better froth, people. Earl Grey with milk, homemade tea muffins, and Steve on a Monday morning.
I approve of Steve. Is that is this supposed to be Bulbasaur?
It's a fucking Bulbasaur, yes.
I think Steve is just a Bulbasaur. I'm down for Steve.
I approve of Steve.
Everything here looks good.
Scones? Is that what they're supposed to be? Is like little scone-like things?
They call them homemade tea muffins.
Huh.
I don't know what you take up that, but they're supposed to be homemade tea muffins.
Kinda like that mug. It looks like it's just rising out of the counter, like it's the same.
No, the mug's dope.
It's been through some stuff.
Very photogenic. I approve of this picture.
Yeah, this is nice.
That Bulbasaur makes this picture for me. I feel that.
You gotta tie it in. You need that one piece that ties it in.
Is this fucking in a... It's in a pepper? Excuse me?
Yo,
the fuck is this? Shitty life pro tip.
Pepper.
Agreed.
Some people give a new meaning to hot tea.
Minus 1,000 points.
Oh man, why? Where is your life?
It's a shitty life pro tip.
Where is your life that you have to use a pepper?
How do you lose control of your life so much that it degrades you to the point where you have to use a pepper?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sure you could find like a solo cup. You can find some cardboard or something that you can. I don't know. Cardboard would probably be a better choice. Maybe you put like some saran wrap inside and turn it into a I don't know. My mind is just working with things that aren't directly food.
Peppers.
I have a
Yeah,
shitty life pro tip. Fuck the pepper. Burn a candle, get it all the way down, and then pour your liquid in that.
I mean,
It'll take time, but yeah.
you could just
Probably
clean it out really good after.
I don't think
Yeah,
my
just make
candle's
it
really
up.
shaping up to be a good cup, though. Like, this is not really. It's weird. It's not quite what you want. But I mean, in theory, you could put a liquid in it. You kind of have it at an angle, you know. You can pour it.
Yeah, just drip feed it, little by little.
Exactly.
Won't hold a lot starting out, but better than
Well,
a
that's
pepper,
why you keep melting it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that has to be very unhealthy for a person to do that.
Pepper is questionable.
Ooh, London fog and raspberries. I don't know what London fog is, but that looks good. I would
It
drink
does.
that.
This
It
person
don't
lives
even look
dangerously.
like tea.
I'm not sure what that actually looks like, but it looks good.
This gives me like milk coffee vibes.
It's
like-
same.
Yeah, just coffee with an abundance of milk or creamer in it.
Okay, let me get out of before I look up what is London tea or wait, London fog, excuse me.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't pop up something not safe for work. London fog beverage has been around for over a decade. May refer to an Earl Grey tea, misto tea, or tea light. Rather simple drink, but packs a lot of flavor. The drink consists of Earl Grey tea, vanilla syrup, and steamed milk. That makes sense.
Okay.
That sounds pretty good.
It does. That's why it looks good. It looks good because it probably is good.
Yeah, this photo is also it gets points for presentation as well. It's simple, but it's like simple in the right direction,
And it
Mhm.
has the
person-
right amount of blur.
Yeah, this person is about to sit down and write a novel.
Well, not if they keep having the rings on their table.
Oh, that too. Yeah, they need some coasters.
Yeah, they need some coasters. Not really peak picture, but some matcha processed green tea. While they were in Japan, I think. Yeah, Japan.
I've had some friends that have been to Kyoto, and they said it was really pretty. I mean, the picture right there pretty much agrees with their statement.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
Any pictures I've seen always been very pleasant.
Oh, Enfu, back to our discussion last night. Can you see my mouse right now?
I can, yes.
Interesting. Okay. That's a repeat. Breakfast tea featuring biscuit jar. Once again, the tea looks good.
It does. Are those like cookies?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are clearly from beyond the pond. And they're word of biscuit. Not
I
quite
imagine
biscuit.
that's where we'd get the biggest tea supporters from.
I mean, when I move away from Dr. Pepper, it's gonna be the tea. There's just so much variety of tea. I know I can find something I like within tea.
So why does it look like some of them are like cookies and then others are like they're just like actual crackers? Some of them,
Because
look
some
like
of
they
them are
have, like, a
broken.
filling.
Yeah, they might just be. It's either a mixed bundle or some of them are just separated.
Yeah.
I definitely get that vibe as well.
Sloane's Heavenly Cream Tea at Tea Shop. Afternoon tea. Well, that's not a good picture of the tea. But, I mean,
The setup looks pretty fantastic.
the setup looks good.
Yeah,
I like
the
how
tea-
regardless of how you go forward or backward, the ad just stays there. I'm amused.
Gotta respect the hustle.
Keep in mind, I literally have an ad blocker right there. Not working, as you can see. Is it okay to have chocolate with the tea? I mean, yeah, why not?
It is.
What kind of chocolate is that?
Yeah, I don't know about proper tea etiquette, so I can't say for sure, but I'd imagine it's okay.
The fuck? That's
It's
backwards.
Tony's
chocolate.
Cha.
I
It's
don't
a
know what
very thick chocolate bar.
it fucking... I don't know what else is in it, but that'd probably discourage me from it. Whatever else is in it right there.
I'm going to assume that it's peanuts. It looks like peanuts.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't need it then.
Yeah,
I'm not a
I'd-
peanut
I'd,
person.
I'd agree with that. I don't mind peanuts. If it's like almonds like that, then a little less down, but
Earl Grey brewed about 4 minutes with little whole milk and honey, and a basset hound on the side. Well, good on Doggo.
dog was
Even the
about a half
dog was
cent.
classy.
Yeah, this exudes just classy energy.
Hashtag classy energy. My mom and I made fruit scone slash clotted cream for the first time while in quarantine, served with almonds, Early Grey, and strawberry jam in my vintage teacups.
That is way too much of the strawberry shit on the plate there.
Agreed.
I do like the teapot. I think it's really cool.
Agreed.
Yeah, it reminds me of like one of those cast iron kettles, kinda.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I bet those scones are really good.
I really want them.
God, dude, they look good.
Like, I'm just looking at them and I'm like, you know, that would be really good right now.
It does. They look really good. Oh my god. Peppermint.
From
tea.
my garden, 1 sugar.
Ooh, homegrown.
Gotta love it.
Lemon mint tea is really good as well. Lemon peppermint.
Ooh. Yorkshire tea, 2-minute mash, splash of milk, and no sugar.
Is the food supposed to be the 2-minute mash? Did he make that in 2 minutes and call it a mash, or like?
That's
Oh no. Let's see. What? Homemade scone, homemade strawberry jam, chantilly cream, and fresh strawberries. Holy fuck! Sounds really good.
I'm very amused that the pre-show is just looking at Rate My Tea.
Yeah, this is a good subreddit though.
It is.
Sometimes the ads come through.
Hey, sometimes you gotta have some ads.
Ooh, this one has an Agatha Christie book.
Ooh.
Or so it claims. I don't know.
I mean, I don't see it, so I'm gonna dock them points.
Yeah, they may be lying to me.
It's like the person that brought up their dog. You can't just bring up the dog and not show it.
Right.
I think
sour cream donut. Who the fuck makes a donut and put sour cream on the shit? What?
Oh man.
Sour cream donut. That's not what I want. I like sour cream. I don't want sour cream donut.
I don't think anyone should want a sour cream donut. Who goes out of their way to get a donut and thinks, God, this goes good with sour cream? Who does that?
Listen, they really like sour cream.
They have to.
They must. There's a lot in this picture because I'm processing it in a sense of the picture might just be warped because of the perspective, but the cup looks like it's about to fall towards the window, but
It does.
it's not. And then the donut on the plate looks like it's hanging off the windowsill, just completely halfway. And this whole picture just seems like chaos.
It does. It screams chaotic energy, and I can't tell if I love it or hate it. And then the fact that it's a sour cream donut on top of it, just hanging off the edge like that, like, oh my god.
Yeah, this is for sure chaotic alignment.
I like Philip's take. I fucking hate sour cream.
I mean, there's only one kind of sour cream that I like, and it's like Taco Bell's 2% fat free or whatever. That's pretty good sour cream, but aside from that.
Antique teacup collection. Harney's Paris, 3 minutes with a touch of honey.
I mean, I don't know what's up with the picture, but I can give them points for having some decent looking. It looks like raspberry tea. I know it's not, but that's what it looks like.
I think aesthetically it all ties together. Like everything here feels like it belongs there. The picture is a bit odd, but at least the frame of the picture feels like it still belongs.
True,
Dude,
true.
I could totally see this being like, I could see this being the exact thing that they would have served to like maybe like a Queen of England back in like the Victorian era. I could totally see this being the exact setup that she would have set at to enjoy it.
For sure, yeah.
They did a really good job with this presentation. I approve.
All right, lads, strap in. Decaf Yorkshire, no sugar with brie and 90% dark chocolate.
Ooh.
Okay, so like the cup looks like it's like on a way higher elevation than the food, and like the first thing that I thought was like the cup was on a table and he had the bowl sitting on the floor, and I'm like, why the fuck would he do that? And I was like, no, wait, it's all the same thing,
That would be hilarious.
These pictures are designed to mess with us.
right? What the fuck? These people are interesting.
Homemade London fog.
I'm convinced that that's a cup of beer, and they can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, I was gonna say this looks like watered down beer.
It does.
Not as appealing as that first London fog we came across.
No,
True.
it does not.
Agreed.
The first London fog was lit.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dinnerly meal kit start at just $2.50 per adult size serving. Is anyone here adult sized?
What do they count as adult size?
Yeah, that's debatable.
I don't know. Made some white tea to which I added some lavender I got from my neighbor's yard as a gift.
Ooh. Yep. Okay, so like you got the teapot, and then you got the other thing that looks like it could be used as a blunderbuss.
I'm trying to understand. Maybe it's designed to like let steam out, will give you a solid pour. I don't know. I'm just, brainstorming here. I imagine that opening does serve a purpose.
Yeah, destroying your enemies when you blow them away with it.
That may be it. Blow into the smaller opening and just shoot out.
Listen, I want all my teapots to have a hydro pump feature.
Fair. Oh,
Advertisements be taking me here.
We've come full circle.
Fair. Yorkshire Gold brewed I mean, it does not look like tea to me, but it looks like it probably tastes good.
It kind of looks. I get hot chocolate vibes off of it.
I get more of like a very unhealthy coffee.
That too.
It just looks like just your run of the mill. Like I just woke up, had no time, made this, but I had to make it look presentable.
Yo, I totally get it. I see it.
Yeah, it's like the aesthetic for the gram, but you're not killing it with the the budget isn't up there, so you did what you had to, and you make it work.
What's it on the background back there? It looks like a mess. I can't tell if that's supposed to be the floor, or like if it's part of his table, or like what's going on.
I'm trying to make it. Maybe it's the counter, and it just looks like there's things in the background.
Maybe like I thought at first it might have been like a stapler, but then like now it kind of looks like a mouse that's been turned up on its side.
Yeah.
And...
Weird.
I can't tell what any of these things are.
I can't
one of those,
either.
It's like one of those pictures that's like name one thing in this photo, but you can't. You physically cannot, and it hurts you.
I need a zoom and enhance feature. Zooming in just makes it look worse, and I can't. That's the high quality things we need on the podcast. We need zoom and enhance.
Zoom and enhance.
Oh god, this cup is fancy.
It is. One of their prized pieces.
Oh, this comes from Venice too. Ooh.
Very nice looking.
It is.
Not the worst looking tea.
Yeah, I think this one is more to show off the teacup, if anything. Yeah.
I'm sure the tea was still probably pretty good though.
Here's a question. Since it's time for the show, so we should end on this one. Do you think that the spoon is inappropriate in this picture because it doesn't go with the theme of the teacup or the thing under it, and it doesn't fit the theme of the picture?
I think leaving the spoon inside the cup would have been better. I guess if it was in the process of being mixed, it might have been more aesthetically pleasing because you don't see the full spoon. But getting the whole spoon with some residue on it from the cup kind of makes it seem a little hastily thrown together.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dock some points here.
Yeah, you almost had us. You had us in the first half.
You had us in the first half, but then you couldn't slam dunk it.
I am about this cup. It is very nice.
It is very nice.
I wonder how much a cup like that would cost. I'm gonna see if I can find it online real quick.
Can we talk about that fucking wallet we looked at last night?
Oh god.
That was so absurdly like 175, 150. I think was that cheapest 150 or did it go to like 125?
God.
They were very, very, very expensive.
I forget the name brand, but it was one of those wallets that's more like just a clip. It's like a minimalist wallet.
Okay.
It's one of those.
I don't know if that warrants such a high price, but I mean, if it secures my worldly possessions, then more power to them.
It's very fair.
It better do its job if I'm dropping over $100.
Agreed. All right, so now we're with transition and while info looks at that from pre-show to main show. This is the appropriate time to ask if anybody has to go to the bathroom or needs to get a drink. Now is the time to do so.
I think I'm good. You guys have to do the same.
I'll run and I'll take a leak real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, do your thing.
Sounds like a good plan. It's always good, cause it's better to make sure you start off on a high note, and then if you're like 2 hours in, then you have to go. That's one thing. But if you're like 20 minutes in, and it's like, you probably could have went beforehand if you really wanted to.
Mid conversation.
It's just, like if you're about to drive for an hour or two, you should go to the bathroom even if you don't have to go.
Yeah, chug a bottle of water or something. Force it up.
Yeah, you should just go anyway. Force yourself to let whatever's in out, and there you go. The trip is much better because you do not want to have to piss when you're in the middle of a long drive.
I don't personally drive, but I've been in car rides where stuff like that has happened, and oof, unpleasant. Because you just half the time you just want to get to where you're going, and the stop oftentimes is an inconvenience where you have to find an exit and go through an elaborate process of getting off of the road in some way. Yeah, we don't need that.
Very fair. I feel like I should save the subreddit for later in case we end up going back to it.
I mean, you'll probably find the ad again.
Sure. No, I think I'm literally just gonna leave the tab open. If we go back to it later, we go back to it later. I think that's the solid plan.
we're just here for the aesthetics.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need something that lets you think about it for a moment.
Yeah, like I wouldn't use this for tea, but I'd drink out of this teacup. I'd make some chocolate milk, pop it in there, and just feel extra fancy. The fanciest child. Drop some marshmallows in there,
I don't even know where my current drinking cup comes from. It's like some citizen's local bank from when we lived in a place. And it's just like, okay, whatever.
I have like a regular water bottle, like a screw-on lid or whatever that I use for generally water. But when I drink anything else, I have a glass Coca-Cola cup, and that's just my go-to for everything else. Whether it's lemonade, just general juices, soda.
Fair. Are you from New York?
I am, yeah.
Interesting. Alright, so we have 2 Southern boys and then a New Yorker this week.
Do you usually get a decent mix in terms of your guests? Like somewhere or scattered places, or is it always in like a similar place?
Location-wise, that I don't even know that most of the time before I bring in a guest. Like, we base it on, okay, if they stream during the hours kind of close to the podcast, there's a higher chance that they could reasonably make the show if they wanted to.
Gotcha.
But we don't actually look into, like, a location or anything.
Okay.
Not quite. Use a God of War mug. in a form of a Greek pot design.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
Agreed? Very fancy.
Yeah, I have like a few mugs just around that are either like Disney themed or random nonsense, but those are rarely used. I'm not drinking coffee or anything like that often, if at all. Like I don't drink coffee. I would use them for like chocolate, like hot chocolate. I don't do that often enough.
That's fair. I have hot chocolate for the taste, not because I'm trying to warm up, because I don't do enough things outside to warrant it.
Yeah, same. I think I just enjoy it. Although I will use being outside in the cold as an excuse to grab some if I'm outside in the cold.
Now you're in its actual purpose. But if it's
Yeah.
cold, the true life pro tip that I think most people know, but in case you don't, you go heat up whatever you're about to wear in the dryer for a bit.
Ooh.
And then it's warm, and then you put it on and it's warm, and you're going to complain for a moment that it's hot until you get outside, and then you're like, oh, this buys you some time.
Immediately you just love yourself. It's like, oh, this was so smart of me.
Yeah, this was smart. Unfortunately, my current dryer, you'd have to time it right, because it has it goes from it heating it up to less and less over time. That way it's not like burning hot when you pull it out, which I don't know that's really a problem that needed solving. So you'd have to time it well. But,
right.
You know.
Yeah, just knowing the way your dryer works.
Exactly.
I think it's step one.
Knowing how the things you use function is a very key step of life.
I think that's, besides it functioning to begin with, I think that's a very strong rule. That's definitely in the top 3.
And I guess while we wait for the main show to begin, I can go ahead and say that we will be beginning with gaming topics. We have the most when it comes to gaming topics this week.
Nice.
So that will be where we begin our lovely journey.
I just off of what you had sent me, I am interested in a lot of these topics.
I have the topics set into 5 different categories: debate topics, gaming topics, show topics, random topics, and then skippable topics, which doesn't mean they're bad topics. It just means one person voted a crab on it, and if we need to cut things due to time, I'll cut those.
Gotcha. Okay.
You pull from those when you have time to spare. You want to get in what everyone's excited for first.
Right. Cover the ones with the passion.
Yes.
And if you need some filler, you have those.
I like to describe it as filler too, but I like to think that if you have a good guest going, you can pretty much talk about whatever. Like, for example, 2 out of 3 people don't drink tea, and we just talked about rate my tea for the past 30 minutes.
We just had, 20-30 minutes of tea talking?
Yeah, we had tea talk.
That's the thing. You just find things to chat about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it could be anything, as long as it's within a proper taste. You find something and you just kind of immediately vibe.
That's also the good part about Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit will have, I think, because I don't browse Reddit myself, but I do have things that sometimes a friend will send me, and it's like, hey, this is from Reddit, and you oftentimes will just find someone who immediately hits the nail on the head of whatever it is you're thinking. They'll have a picture and a caption, and your immediate thought is what they wrote, and it's like, well, this person gets me. I need to understand this person, or I need to share this to other people and see if they understand me as well.
That's fair. Yeah, I think it'll be a good show. I have confidence in it. I think we had a good pre-show. I think it'll be a good time.
I think we started with the whole bullet and knives thing, and I think that in of itself, I think was just
that was absurd. Would it be more insulting if someone stabbed you with a bullet?
Man, you just can't.
I think it's the most insulting if someone stabs you with a toenail clipper.
if they find, well, because that's the thing, because toenail clippers have, or at least most of them have that piece that kind of spins out from one of the handles, and you can probably stab someone with that. So I guess
Exactly.
it's understandable. It's a sharp object, but it just begs the question of like, at what point does the stabbing utensil become insulting? None of them are inherently designed for stabbing, unless it's like a knife or something. So I think anything that's not a knife stabbing you is just an insult. With the bullet specifically, it's the case of this is a thing that is designed to be shot at you. So being stabbed by it just adds an extra layer of kind of disrespect.
What's the definition of stab? Does stab mean you shove something at somebody and it penetrates them? Or what's the definition of stabbing?
A potato peeler would be truly disrespectful. I don't know. I think it comes down to whether it stabs through or not. That's gonna make or break what it means. Because I mean, here it says with the intent to wound or kill. So I'm assuming it has to pierce.
Officer, listen. I didn't mean to hurt them.
I found it.
It's only 300 times they got stabbed, but I didn't mean to. It was an accident.
There was no intent to kill.
Yeah, my intent wasn't to wound or hurt them, or kill them in any way.
Honestly, the fact that you did find it is pretty impressive.
How much did it cost? eBay?
Like $60.
60 bucks. Wow.
Oh, anybody is interested in this fancy teacup?
Sign into eBay with Google.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting to find it. I really wasn't.
Shipping fast and free? It comes from Miami? Ooh. Oh, do you really want it? It comes from Florida.
That's... I don't know, it shakes it up a bit.
I'm not sure you actually want it now. It comes from Florida, you can't trust it. This one doesn't have a green on the inside. That one has green on the inside. You can't trust it.
I did see the red inner one on the top left corner of that eBay page though, but it had shipping. Shipping was included. So
well, that's unfortunate.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's very unfortunate. All right. Well, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. Then we can begin the show.
Yeah, do your thing. Here on the Cyberpunk news.
I heard about this and I had so many mixed emotions. It like partially broke my heart, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Not so much am I super tied to it, but I think it's one of those things where if a game needs to take time, then do it. You want to pump out something, worth playing, worth showing to the people, and if that just needs more time, then yeah, absolutely. I think everybody is gonna understand. It's disappointing, sure, but you appreciate that they care enough at least to delay that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, delays never hurt games. They never hurt them because like it shows that they want the game to be good. So right. I'm glad they do decide to delay them. My issue with delays stems from if it keeps getting delayed over and over, like Cyberpunk and other games have in the past. Historically, they get delayed to the point where like they get sent to developer hell, and then they're either canceled because they've already sunk so many resources into it they are not able to make a profit on it anymore, so they cancel it, or by the time it does come out, it's been delayed so much and the hype on it's built so much and it's still not good because it just for whatever reason they couldn't make it right, and then at that point the game itself or whatever that had so much potential is now kind of, I guess, toast, and you'll probably never get nothing more out of it because they're like, well, it didn't work, we tried, and so delays can be a risky, scary thing to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing to what happened with The Last Guardian, was which was constantly, I think, being delayed, and it was always spoken about, but not much was seen. And whenever something was shown, it was a bit. And that one went into the developer hell and just purgatory in general. And I think it was like a decade later that it finally came out, and was not the strongest game, if I remember hearing correctly.
Are we talking about game delays?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun.
And
Just briefly sharing our thoughts on Cyberpunk.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that. I also came to the conclusion when I got up. My leg has like, as if I sat on this marker right here, which, by the way, is not what happened, and it just colored my part of my leg. But that's not it. This marker's right here. I don't have another black marker. The black marker is accounted for. I think my chair is legitimately, like, not only is it peeling, the black of the chair is peeling now onto my skin. My chair is tearing apart, people.
that's not good.
I agree. I was very confused. I'm like, did I sit on the marker or something? Hello? How did that happen?
Just sabotage. While you're not in the room, your markers come to life. Just
That's
color your
fair.
chair.
Oh, did you see what I did with your picture?
I did, yeah.
I think it looks good.
It does, yeah. It fits well. I think my thing is always just centering it in a nice way, and I think you got it, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it wasn't it was big enough that I had plenty of room to just play with, so I could just make it fit.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I've started getting into the habit of just making really big canvas sizes whenever I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Because you can always, mess around with it a little better.
You
Just
can always
easy-
make
easier
it
to work with.
smaller and save a smaller version and keep the bigger one, but you can never make a
Exactly.
smaller version bigger without it being sketch.
Without some extra effort put in.
And we don't want that effort.
Yeah. We want to take the shortcuts that we can take when necessary.
So, we're all ready now?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm good to go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back in the Shed, episode 92. I am Wes. Hi. We are here once again. Another week, another episode. By the way, just want to quickly throw in, we're not going to have an episode next week. Next week, of course, being election night for the podcast night, so we're just going to skip that. We're going to avoid that, Don't want to deal with that. I am brought to you by my special co-host, Enfu.
Hello there, everybody.
Potentially my favorite co-host, potentially not. You never know.
Always a different thing each week.
This is true. And special guest. Also, I should point this out. Coming in from the Actor Pat recommendation. Rynitsu. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me, guys. And a special thank you to Pat for the recommendation. I appreciate it.
So, you are a Twitch streamer, and I want to add in an artist.
Thank you, yes.
I've enjoyed the art I've seen of you.
I
enjoyed
appreciate that.
I think I pointed that out to you one day. They're like, oh, hey, I checked out the art thing too, and it looks good. It looks very nice.
Yeah, it's always appreciated. I think I was explaining to you before that I very much have these moments where I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if I like this, or I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm starting to try to get a little more accepting of it and just kind of lift myself up as well.
The
and be
biggest
more receptive.
The biggest advice that you could give a person is to give people more positive reception on things you feel are good. That way, not only are you spreading positivity, but people can feel better about the things they do.
I think that sounds solid. That's solid advice for sure.
So how would you describe your Twitch channel? What would you say you do on your Twitch channel?
Oof. Okay. As of right now, it's just a variety channel of just gaming with some art thrown in. We tackle whatever game. I started off going through my backlog, just kind of any games I had sitting there. that I would want to play eventually, but couldn't bring myself to do it. Streaming became that lens. I aim for things that I would like to tackle, not just things that are there for the sake of playing them, but things that I have an interest in, so that there's at least a reason to keep playing it. And then as things come out that I maybe get my hands on, jump into those. But yeah, it's just a variety of gaming and some art.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What has been your favorite thing to do on Twitch?
Ooh, I think just interacting with people, whether it's my own stream or popping into someone else's and just kind of chatting. You often see, these big streams with like thousands of people and maybe get noticed, but kind of becoming a streamer myself and diving into like smaller communities a little more. When you pop in and you get noticed, or like you kind of pop in regularly and they recognize your name and, appreciate you showing up every time. And likewise, I do the same for people who pop in for me. It just feels nice. It's a fun time chatting, making jokes and stuff, vibing with people. So yeah, I think that just the community.
Exactly. And I mean, I always like to think of it as, I think a good way to go about it, in my opinion, is you have your Twitch stream, you talk to people in chat, you go talk to other streamers, you get to know them, you make some connections, you just make some friends. I feel like that's kind of what the podcast has done with the actor Pat and everyone around that group. Quote unquote group. Not really a group, just a connection of people.
It's a steady web of interconnected people, because I think there's some that are tied together through things like Danganronpa. And then just extending from that, some people are like, hey, this person is cool, check them out. And then it kind of webs out. Yeah. It's just like this cascading effect, so to speak, of just people kind of being kind of met and shared. The community just being shared and overlapping and stuff.
And hey, that's a great thing to do. I mean,
absolutely.
I also enjoy just talking in people's discords, especially if they have some conversations going on. I think that's another good way to have a community vibe with somebody. Make that connection, just talk in a Discord.
Yeah, absolutely.
So right before the show, while I was away, y'all had brought up the Cyberpunk 2077 delay. How did y'all feel about this, since I missed it?
I'm kind of torn on it, because it's been delayed, twice now? 3 times now? Yes. I've kind of been losing track at this point. I know it's been delayed at least a couple times. The first or second, I don't even know how many times it's been delayed, but the first time it got delayed, I was like, okay, that's fine. Delays only help games, in my opinion. Here we are getting delayed again.
And again.
In my opinion, starting to wane a little bit, because it's like, I get it, delays help games. I totally understand that. They got the certification for the game to go gold a while back, though. If the game was still in a point where it can't be released, they should have never put it up for the gold certification. Never should have happened.
What does that mean?
If they knew, it means that the game is completable. You can earn all the achievements. You can complete pretty much the story, and you can finish it. It is a game from start to finish that you can do, and you can do the stuff inside of it. That's what it means when a game goes gold. It means that it can be shipped out and it's good to go. But a lot of times, developers will get the gold certification on games, ship it out, and then after it gets the certification going, they will continue working in the background, and they will release like a day 0 patch or whatever. Like the moment it's supposed to release, it'll have like an update that'll go in with like the game while it's being downloaded. Nothing major. And these guys here, they even said they're still working on the game. Like they're still working on it right now. It's like they said that they're going to have stuff in a day 0 patch, like every other developer does nowadays. And my thing is at what point should they have been like, I don't know. I guess to me, they just shouldn't have put it through the gold certification. They should have never been up for it if it wasn't done to that point where it keeps having to get delayed. And I'm afraid that it's either going to end up in developer hell, or they're going to end up having to cancel it because it's going to overrun into the profit margin to the point where they're actually going to start losing money on it if they ship it. And a lot of times when that happens with games, they'll just be like, "No, we're calling it here," and they'll just kind of cancel it or whatever. I doubt that they will with this one, but anything's possible, I guess.
So the last time we brought up Cyberpunk 2077, once again, the name still messes with my brain. I still can't properly say it on the podcast. Cyberpunk 2077 is a bad name just for that reason. I've come to this conclusion. I'm sure this is just a me struggle, but for some reason, Cyberpunk 2077, it takes me a couple times to say it to get it down that day. The last time we talked about it on the show was their optional crunch time. And to know that they've been crunching hard and they still have to delay this game again?
Yeah, that's one of those instances where I'm like, ooh, I don't think any form of crunch is good.
Agreed.
And especially if you're dealing with it in a game like this, where, as Info had said, it's been delayed a few times already. So let's assume they've been crunching each of the, like, a little more after each of those delays. If it persists, it's just not good for the employees, first and foremost. Secondly, they have the issues of the game itself, losing that hype, that traction that it's building now. And sure, you have the name CD Projekt Red to go off of. You have The Witcher's street cred to kind of go off of. But that will still only take you so far, I feel.
Yep.
I noticed in the chat the mention of No Man's Sky, and I hope it doesn't hit that point where you have this super hyped up experience that when the final product is revealed and released, it doesn't maybe live up to that. And that's part of the issue of, like, kind of building this hype. You have to be able to balance out the hype train buildup with the delivery of the product. And that's where delays, like sudden delays, especially when something has already gone gold, that's where that can kind of hurt it.
I just can't imagine being one of the developers that have been crunching hardcore, mandated crunch hardcore, and it's like, oh, it's almost over. And then you get the breaking news. Hey guys, guess what? 21 more days of crunch.
Yeah.
Cause it's not like it's not 21 days. Oh, don't worry, these 21 days they're gonna cut back hours and not crunch. No, this is 21 more mandated crunch days.
Yeah. And oof, that's 3 weeks of just nonstop work, and it's a lot.
Are they going to keep the crunch up with the delay, or did they do the delay to help with the crunch because they realized that they wasn't going to be able to get it done in time? So,
well, the second part of this, which I want to phrase this as not 100% confirmed. This is a rumor, but one person that I talked to, a few of the developers, what they heard is that the team at large did not know about the delay and that the announcement went live to them when it went live on Twitter. So, I mean, they don't know.
That's because if that turns out to be true, then it's like, why hide that? And is it a matter of hiding it because they know it's going to be 21 days of crunch, or are they just come as a surprise in general? And it's just kind of like we didn't really know either.
I mean,
it's weird. If it's not a rumor, then it's a lot of shady behind the scenes play. If it is a rumor that's it's not true, then it's just unfortunate game developer hurdles that have to be overcome.
Very true. Very true.
I just wish the game the best because I know a lot of people are looking forward to it.
I don't know how I'm feeling about it, honestly. Like, I feel like I've seen so many videos about it over the throughout the podcast and off podcast. I've seen so many videos about it. And I feel like I think I'm more hyped for, like, Valhalla than I am Cyberpunk.
That's fair.
I don't know I'm hyped for this game. I think it'll be I predict it'll be if it releases as a mostly finished product, cause I think it's safe to say the fact that they've had to delay multiple times this close, I think what we get is not going to be complete. But they're trying to get and as much as they possibly can done. But I think what we get will be a mostly finished product that will be probably a good game, but will have issues.
I think the thing that concerns me the most is because of how many. This kind of goes back to what I was saying with the whole they shouldn't have went through the gold certification process, because as soon as the game goes gold, they start producing the disc copies of it, and then developers get the day zero patch. What about the people who have the game pre-ordered but like they don't have internet or something like that? Because I mean, I know that's probably unlikely in today's time period, but in the event, because I know there are probably people out there that don't have the internet but they still like to play games, they're going to get this version of Cyberpunk that isn't going to have this day zero patch on it. I don't know. Again, I don't know how long ago it went gold, but you know that they're going to get the super buggy version of the game on their disc, and that's just kind of fucked up as well.
I think day zero patches are scummy. Personally. I think my personal opinion on what a game should do, you should not announce your game, period, with any kind of release date, no matter how vague, not even a year, until your game is done. If not, you're like 95% of the way done.
Yeah, I think that's fair, especially when your day zero patch is like a quarter, if not a solid chunk of what the game size is.
Yeah.
Because I think that I forget what game it was that had that happen, where the day zero patch or day one patch was bigger than the game itself. And it might have been like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, like I heard it in a video or something. But there are some messes out there, and it's just finish the game. If you can't finish it, delay it. I think you will be better off delaying it and taking your time and releasing a finished thing than releasing something buggy, facing that wrath, and then trying to fix it after. Because I know there's the thing of it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. But I think this is one of those cases where you just take your time and finish it up. Don't ask us for forgiveness. Don't mess it up to begin with.
Agreed. I completely agree with that. And I just think you saw Cyberpunk could still have built hype. It still could have done the thing. And you could have had all that hype in one burst and have people ready to buy the game without like, okay. Yeah, the big hype earlier this year, which keep in mind this game's had hype for a bit now.
In a while, yeah.
And it dies down over time. You could have had that big burst and then be like, hey, we're releasing this game in a week.
And yeah, it's the thing of I get the idea of building hype. It's part of the fun. It's just, again, what I said earlier, when you build too much hype and then you get these consistent delays, I think every time you get a delay, it takes away from that hype you were building, and then you have to kind of like rebuild that up. And I know with them, they were doing these Night City Wires, which is like their kind of look into the world of Cyberpunk, which I kind of looked into as an observer, just kind of getting an idea of what the game was like, because I wasn't sure how into it I was just yet. I like the aesthetic, I like the cyberpunk feel.
Yeah.
I want to know if the game is going to be for me. And the Night City Wires were doing that. They were giving me a good glimpse of how the game would be, how I would play, and I'm like, yeah, I could get behind this.
I didn't like the Night City Wires.
Really? Okay. Was it just the whole structure of it, or?
I didn't like the video format of it.
Okay. I just kind of looked at it I looked at it through another like content creator. I didn't see them directly, so I saw people reacting to it, and that kind of made it a little easier to swallow, because then I could get their take on it while also having my own. And yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting, but yeah, the game, I'm not one of the people who's looking forward to it like insanely, so it's kind of like hit or miss for me in the sense of how affected I am by it all. But just in the general scheme of things being delayed, I get that, if it's necessary to happen, do it. But like 9 times out of 10, do the delay to better the game. But just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Alexa Legacy said, yeah, I kind of don't care that much about the game anymore after the roller coaster. Keanu lost my trust.
Oh no.
Keanu, why?
How could you do this to us? We
Why
trusted
you.
you.
This? So we have multiple videos to watch, so I say we go ahead and watch a couple, and the first being Pumpkin Jack.
Ooh.
Now, here's how we watch trailers on the podcast. We'll watch them together, of course, and then we have to decide if it was a good trailer, and then if you'd buy the game.
Okay. That sounds like a fun time.
That is our goal. We want to see if it's a good game based, or a thing that would interest us based on the trailer. So are we all ready?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Yep.
Once upon a time, in the great Arkansas Kingdom.
Explore a cursed world.
Ooh.
I'm loving the art style to this.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
The devil gave Jack one simple mission. Find the wizard and destroy him.
Pumpkin Jack available 4 days ago on the Xbox, Nintendo Switch, Steam, GOG, and the Epic Game Store. So, first, how did we feel about the actual trailer itself?
I think it does what it needs to. It gives you just kind of a taste of the energy of like the vibe, just kind of the music being all powerful, and just like it's kind of a hack and slash platformer.
Yes.
So you get this kind of you kind of know the sense of what you're dealing with. It shows you the combat, shows you the gameplay in enough of a burst that you kind of get a feeling of what it's like. I was looking at that just now, and there are certain moments where I'm just like, ooh, I can already see that being annoying. Specifically in terms of the platforming. And that's just coming from someone who enjoys platformers. So you kind of notice the platformer beats. So I think there was a segment where you're jumping across broken minecart tracks.
Yep.
And there are minecarts moving as well, and then you can get hit by them. And it's like, well, how smooth are the controls in a sense of your jumping? Because you can't really tell that without feeling it yourself. But you do get to see everything it's gonna, or a good chunk of what it's gonna offer in this trailer, which I think is a nice thing.
How about you, Info? How did you feel about the trailer itself?
I thought it did a pretty good job of showing off some things. It did enough to where it made me curious. I actually went on my Xbox just now and looked it up.
I was about to talk about the price in a moment. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the Xbox actually has it on sale. I'm not going to say how much, but Xbox does have it on sale right now. I don't know if everywhere does, but
Steam has it on sale. Is it 20% off on Xbox without the name of the price?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then it should be the same price. All right. So,
Okay.
I thought it was. I love the music of the trailer. I vibe with it a lot. I'm not quite sure. I think I would enjoy the game if I had it. I think I would probably enjoy it, but I could definitely see where it might frustrate me a little bit. I don't think it'd be my favorite game. I think I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5 on the enjoyment scale if I played it. That's my initial vibe from the trailer. But I think it was a good trailer. I think it did everything it needed to do. So, before we discuss would we buy the game, I do want to talk about the price of the game, not knowing what the actual price is. So the price of the game, it's 20% off. It starts out at $29.99 and it's on sale for $23.99. Offer ends November 2nd. So for $23.99, would this be a game for you?
If I had like $25 laying around, I'd pick it up, yeah, but
But in the reality you live in
the reality I live in right now, well, I don't have the money, so I can't. I mean, you know, it's a cool game, and I think I would enjoy playing it. I do. It looks really cool, but there's other games coming up that I want more, and I just think I'd rather wait for it to go on sale again down the road,
or cheaper.
Or something of the sub. Yeah, I mean, the pricing's super concerning. $23 for a game is all right. I mean, it would be nice for cheaper, yeah, but it just came out. You got Valhalla about to come out, and amongst other things, and to me, Valhalla is going to take the place of this because I'm getting the $100 version of that. So this is not even on my radar. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat in terms of how I feel about it. The sale pricing now isn't terrible, especially if the game is offering you enough content to make even the full price worth. My thing is just I'm not, I guess, invested in it enough to it's one of those that's like, oh, I like that this is on my radar now, but that's all it is. It's on my radar.
So how long to beat says it's around 3.5 to 5 hours.
For $23, they're fucking crazy.
I agree with that knowledge.
That immediately, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say it's for sure a super sale price for me, like maybe like $10-15 at most. No immediate, because there are other things that I would want more for sure. And when it comes to a price, like my pricing thing, or my mentality with pricing is, how much bang am I going to get for my buck? And I think that's what it should be for everyone. It's like, how much enjoyment out of it are you going to get for the amount you're paying? And if I'm paying, we'll say full price, $30 for 5 hours at most, and that's completionist. 5 hours for $30, is that really worth it?
No.
They better be ripping your pants off at every step of the game in those 5 hours.
I will insert my slight hypocrisy, because I did buy Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes for about the same price, and that's not a very long game either. However, there is the replayability aspect of it. You can keep running through it in different ways. And I'm also just a big Metal Gear Solid fan, so I kind of just, everybody has those decisions. But in hindsight, yeah, it's a stupid purchase for like, full price for like a few hours. Yeah. It's a fine trailer, it's a fine looking game, but I don't think 30 for 5 hours is enough.
I'm an unreasonable consumer. You know the price I'd pay for this game?
Lay it on us.
At max, $2.
Oh no.
$2. 1 to 2, easy purchase. Anything more than that, probably not.
You know what does it for me as well is I'm a little more nitpicky when it comes to 3D platformers, because there's a lot that has to go right. You need the gameplay to feel nice. You need everything to be responsive. Not very long ago, I went through A Hat in Time, and that is a game that I enjoyed dearly. And that's one that I think from the moment I first saw it, I was like, yeah, I'd buy this. I'd buy this full price. And then playing it, I will double down on that. It felt nice. It gave me solid content. And it's just one of those things, like, you're never fully sure what you're in for. That's why we have the internet now to kind of, because before all you had was like the game box and whatever you can, gather around it, word of mouth. But now we have all these resources. It's like, yeah, I don't think this is worth that much of an investment.
100%. Yeah, I'm very unreasonable with my price of games, because I am the person that would rather wait for it to be 85% off after the game has been out for a few years and the price has naturally gone down. So you have that discount and then like an 85% sale, so it's like $1 to $2 in this case. That's what I'm looking for with a game like this. This is not a game I have any desire to be like, oh man, I'm missing out on a lot if I don't play this on day one. Nah,
yeah,
man.
that's one of those games where something like Twitch comes in handy for me, or maybe like YouTube game players and whatnot.
Ooh.
Because then you kind of just, if you don't have an extreme desire to play yourself, but you still want to see the game, then that's kind of how you'd get your taste.
That's actually a great point for why the length of the game works. This is a perfect stream game. You can start it and end it in the same stream.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that hurts it there is just the pricing.
Yeah, that's a big plus.
You can toss that money away, and you have a stream that's going to kind of get that back for you. Then maybe that kind of eases that burden.
Yeah, if you're a big streamer, you can buy this no problem.
Yeah, for sure. You can sneeze it out, play it, and you make it back immediately. But otherwise, you really have to have that full desire to play it for it to be worth it. And again, not trying to knock their the developers or anything or their pricing. It's just the people who maybe can't jump onto every game that seems interesting on a whim. You have to look at it a little more rationally.
That makes sense. So, we watched a previous Amnesia Rebirth trailer. I think we literally watched the gameplay reveal a few weeks ago on the show. What do you know anything about Amnesia Rebirth? I mean, you do know about the Amnesia games. I've watched you play them.
So I do know a bit. I have been watching some people playing through it, just because I've kind of resigned myself to like I have no interest in I can't really get it right now, and I have no interest in getting it anytime soon. So I was like, you know what? I'll indulge in the content and watch other people play.
Makes
so I do know a bit about it from the surface level. I don't know the depth, like the in-depth lore or anything.
All right, so this is a launch trailer for the game. So
Ooh, okay.
I enjoy games that have launch trailers. I honestly I want every game to have 3 trailers. And if it can't have 3 trailers, it's not a game for me. I want a gameplay trailer, I want a story trailer, and I want a launch trailer.
I can get behind that.
If your game does not have enough of a story to have a story trailer, I don't want your game. I'm sorry.
And also don't give me the biggest beats of your story in the story trailer. Give me a nice story trailer.
If your story is so thin that in a 2-minute trailer you give away pretty much your whole thing, nah, fam. Nah, fam. Alright, so this is Amnesia Rebirth.
There is a moment when you realize what the pain has made of you. It has stolen your memories.
Selim, are you there? Anyone? Hello? It's Tazzy!
Kinda sounds like Lara Croft.
Don't go near her.
A bit.
Stupid, selfish little girl. We'll all die.
Kind of like in that puzzle.
I don't know where this will take us, but it can't be any worse.
The door! Get to the door!
I keep blacking out. It feels like I'm losing control.
Run from me, Darcy!
You are not thinking clearly. It can't end this way.
This is only going to get worse.
Amnesia Rebirth. Short trailer. Gives you some things to think about. It's out now on Epic Game Store, Steam, GOG, PS4. I don't know why it's not on Xbox. I guess they didn't really,
Yeah, that's an odd,
At least it's not, the Stadia's not included. Fuck the Stadia. So, how did we feel about the actual trailer itself? I personally thought the Pumpkin Jack trailer was... I vibed with it more, but I think this trailer, for the genre of game, I don't think it was a bad trailer.
Yeah, I can agree. I think it does what it needs to. It's very much a sizzle reel, right? You kind of get glimpses of gameplay intermixed with location shots, whether it be physical gameplay or like a cutscene situation. So it kind of gives you the vibe. It's frenetic. Like the Amnesia games are usually chaos. So the kind of quick pacing of the shift between the scenes kind of gives you that energy. It's tense because the music it's not upbeat and energetic like Pumpkin Jack was. It's kind of fitting for its situation.
Yes.
So you have this kind of intense music going on with the voiceover happening. And yeah, I think for what the game is and what it needs to do, it teases little things here and there, in a way where it's like it's not revealing any of the major secrets. It's just like, hey, like let's dangle this rope in front of you. Do you want to grab onto it? And I think it does that pretty well.
That makes sense. How about you, Info? Do you think this was a good trailer?
No, but then again, I don't think the Amnesia game's really that good of a game series either. So, honestly, this just did absolutely nothing for me, and I don't really think it ever will. The
That's
Amnesia
fair.
games are okay if you like them, but they're not for me.
Yeah, that's very fair.
So Amnesia, apparently this game requires a little bit more out of me on Steam. I have to literally give a birthday to see how much it costs. That's fair. This game is also $29.99. So, my immediate question, knowing that this game is also $29.99, let's compare Pumpkin Jack and Amnesia Rebirth at $29.99. Is one a better deal? We'll see.
Let's see what it gives us.
I'm currently looking for... So this is about 8.5 to 12 hours of content you can get out of Amnesia Rebirth. So pretty much a fair bit more than Pumpkin Jack. So at 39 or 29.99, that... I mean, it's a better deal if this is a game that you could be into.
For sure.
I think I would have to play the first two Amnesia games to know if I'd even want this game, to be honest. I think that's the first step, because I own both of the games currently. I own the first two. I don't own... Didn't you say there's a third game before this game? Isn't this 4?
Yeah, there's it's weird because there's technically 2 and then there's like a 0.5 if anything.
Okay.
Because the third one is super small. It's like a kind of just an offbeat thing to the side, and they're not inherently connected in depth. There's like some character threads that maybe connect, or maybe some threads in the sense of like the Amnesia mechanics itself, or like the lore in a sense of what causes the amnesia, and the general like beats of the game. There are some interconnected threads that are like loosely attached, but I don't know how this one extends beyond that. So I don't necessarily think you would need the others to be able to dive into this one. You could dive into any of them, but I think if you dove into this one first and went back, you would enjoy the others maybe less in terms of just visuals and maybe gameplay. Like this one might be a lot more polished because it is coming out now. That being said, having gone through them recently, I would at the very least recommend checking out the first one, the original, as it was an interesting enough experience, all things considered. I didn't really get frustrated until I reached, I think it was Justine, which was the shorter one.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's one of those tackle it at your own, your own risk, at your leisure. Yeah, I think after having gone through those, I'm in no immediate rush to play any others.
That's fair. That's very fair. I was so convinced that I would look at the voice actress for the game and say that it was the same voice actress from Tomb Raider 2013. It sounded very similar to me, and I
could hear, yeah.
Like, I had to look. I had to know. And to be fair, I've clearly heard that person's voice before. I've watched and or played games that she has took a not minor role in. So I've clearly heard her before, just not from Tomb Raider. Not it. That one is not the one. But yeah, this is not a game I would buy right now. It would definitely... I'd have to see it down the road after I played the other Amnesia games to see if I'd want to. Also, hello, Pepsi Man. I hope you're doing well.
Go Pepsi Man. What's up?
The full name is Pepsi Man 69 69 69 69 7.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
That is truly peak name right there. I love that.
Pog name.
Yo, Pepsi Man, I gotta know, do you have the Pepsi Man suit? Do you have one? This is the real question here.
You got to.
Yeah, I think you must if you don the name.
Yes.
Don the role.
Ooh, and hi, Honey Rose. I also hope you're doing well. Who here has played Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories, the demo?
I want to.
I played it.
Quite a few times.
I put 4 to 5 hours into it, which is good for a demo.
Oh yeah, if you got that much out of a demo, especially with the amount of songs that it has,
4 songs.
then yeah, you're definitely, you're enjoying it a lot.
I played it. So what I did, cause the difficulty I did the 2 modes. I did the 1-button mode, and then I did the basic mode. Is that what they called it? Basic?
Yeah. I think it's I think it's basic or standard or something like that.
No, the difficulties, I think, I don't fucking remember what the difficulty. I know the hardest one's Proud. I think standard's in the middle, and then
it's beginner. I think standard and Proud.
Yeah.
3.
I got all A's in beginner. My skill level peaked in standard. I could not, for the life of me, get the 4th song. By the way, there's 4 songs, and from top to bottom in order, they're easiest to hardest. So the bottom's the hardest. And I could not get that to an A on standard, and that's where I stopped, because the game was fun when I could rotate throughout multiple of them. But when it was time for me to just bash my head against the wall to try and get better, that's where I stopped playing.
I'm weird when it comes to those kind of games, and I'm super persistent. Even if I'm losing, I'll just keep trying. I will keep bashing my head into the wall until I see the crack in the wall, and then I'm like, okay, clearly I'm making a dent, and you just kind of see yourself improve. So with me, I think the first time I played, I did beginner. I got I think A's for each of them, and I was like, cool.
How the fuck do you get an A when you first did them? Hello?
I picked it up pretty quickly. I've been itching for a good rhythm game, and it hit that mark for me. It scratched the itch. So I did beginner. I did beginner a little bit to try it out. Went into standard, did that, and then I was like, you know what? I think we just gotta jump straight into Proud. So then I was just doing Proud. I think I got because by that point I had already seen the songs in the other modes. So Proud, I was getting the A's as I went. But the last song was the one that was beating me up, and I think I sat there for a good half hour to an hour, just continuing to do that song until I was able to get the A plus on all of them.
I never got I think I got an A+ on 1-button mode on one of them on standard. But I just want to put this out there. 1-button mode or basic mode, I never once finished on Proud enough to get a rank.
Oh no.
I got fucking wiped every time.
It's a lot, especially the 4th song. It is a lot.
Even the first song, it wipes me. I don't stand a chance. I cannot.
They throw so much, yeah.
Yeah, I don't do well with stuff like that, so my brain just can't. It breaks.
Oh, what's funny is that there is a 3rd mode, right? There's the 1-button, there's the basic, and then there's performer.
Never did that.
I didn't try it. I didn't give it a try, but I did ask a friend who explained it to me, and it's basically just throwing in flares, unnecessary flare. It's just it's kind of for the show off. And you'll be playing with the regular controls, and then you'll get some other indicators that are just extra buttons thrown in for style points. If you fail them, if you miss them, they don't hurt you, but if you hit them, they only benefit. So it's just there for if you want that extra challenge, if you want the extra flex, so to speak. I didn't try it, but I imagine that on Proud while going for the best rank or best score is just a whole mess. and that's probably what people are going to go for when the game comes out.
I played Melodies. Yeah, I played it with the recent discovery of not getting mad at games, or at least reasonably not getting mad at games and controlling it better. So when I played it, the moment I stopped, because what helped me play it was that I rotated between the songs. Like, I think what my conclusion from the demo is the actual full game is going to be super fun. I think.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Unless you hate, if you play the demo and you just hate it, it's not for you. But if you're into it at all, I think this is a good game for you to pick up.
That and the knowledge that there's, I think, 2 or 3 other song types we didn't even get to try, because I was looking into it, and there's it's different for boss fights. There's a boss fight type of song. There is a memory dive, which plays a little differently as well. And then there's obviously the co-op, or the co-op reverses.
I heard co-op made it easier.
The demo does have co-op, but it's tricky. I don't know how it'll work online, because the demo has local co-op. But online, you can expect things like latency and stuff like that to maybe play a factor, and that could really ruin a rhythm game. But co-op is a thing, and I think the Switch has the exclusive, almost battle royale style versus mode, where it's like 8 people playing a song at the same time, and as you like get eliminated, you kind of just sit out and everybody else continues. And I think that's interesting in terms of a console exclusive like mode. But yeah, just all around, if you enjoy the demo, you will like the game. If rhythm games aren't for you, then you can at least enjoy the jams when someone else is playing, because we can all agree that it has really good music.
And I think another important thing, if you've not played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, like me, you can play Melody of Memories, no problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is not a game you don't have to know anything about any other Kingdom Hearts game. If the music sounds good to you and you like rhythm games, don't be afraid to pick this up.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one where the story is not sure, you'll get some story info for the overall grandiose plot that exists, but if you're not there for that, you will still have fun, because it's going to be hitting all of the old beats, all of the classic story points. All the old characters will be around, so you don't really need to know anything, because you're going to see a lot and you're going to experience it just in a new way.
What was your favorite song, 1 through 4? I won't know the name of the song, just in order.
3.
My chat also said 3 was their favorite, and I kind of warmed up to 3 at the end, but I generally liked 4 better.
Well, so 4 is really good, but my thing was 3 was that nice middle ground, because I very much do better when the music is faster. I can hit the buttons faster, and that just feels better for me. So 3 was that point where it's fast but doable. Like, it's fast, but it doesn't throw these crazy combinations at you. Like, 4 starts hitting you with the alternations of like single press and double press in rapid succession.
Triple
whereas
press.
Song number 3, and the triple press as well, yeah. Whereas song number 3 just kind of hits you with consecutive solo presses and stuff like that. So 3 was a nice, like, I could listen to this and not panic because I'm missing buttons.
Makes sense. I also enjoyed 3 and 4 for the sake of they had more moments where most of the time I didn't feel like the buttons I was pressing like made me feel more intense with the song, but song 3 and 4 had moments where the beat of the song and the buttons you were pressing at the right time, they just really feel good.
Yeah, and I think that comes from the faster pace. Like, the BPM on those is a lot faster than the first 2, and that shows with the buttons. Because then it changes up when you have to hit the buttons, and if they kind of align with the BPM well, then you're hitting them more often and you feel more active.
So, Info, I think you should 100% play the demo. In fact, if you would have started downloading it at the beginning of the topic, you could probably have had it downloaded. It's not a big file.
Not at all, yeah.
It's actually,
I think
relatively small.
The only annoying thing with it is that you only get 3. I think you get to play 3 or 4 songs at once, and then it like kicks you back out to the main menu, and then you have to like. It's not the biggest deal, but
that was such a nothing issue for me. I literally would do that like 20 times.
Oh, without a doubt. I was just like, if I had to nitpick this demo, that is my nitpick. But otherwise, it was great. I had a good time with it.
I thought it was amusing how after 4 it'd be like, okay, you've had enough. Back of the line.
Like, yeah,
go away.
Here's the link to the store to buy the game. We know you like it. Like,
Exactly.
listen,
I mean, we know you like it, bud.
Don't assume. You're right, but don't assume.
Don't assume anything. Gah. How dare you assume that I liked this game that I've put 4+ hours into? How dare?
How dare you have the gall to assume?
Exactly. You know. Who would it be? Sometimes you've just gotta find a thing that you really enjoy, and you gotta play it over and over again.
Yeah, that's one of those games that I'm really looking forward to. I know a lot of people have like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and stuff like that. For me, it's Kingdom Hearts and I think Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity,
Ooh.
like a week after. Those are my two games coming up that I'm excited for.
So while Infu's away on a phone call, filler topic we can throw in is NBA 2K21 is inserting unskippable ads into pregame loading screens. We're talking actual commercial advertisements.
So here's the thing. I saw this was a topic, and I definitely gave it the like, I felt neutral about it, but I was like, this is one that if you chose it, I would not be against it, because I do have feelings about this when I like saw the headline. I think it's stupid. I don't play 2K games. They're sports, straight on sports games aren't my thing. I wouldn't go out of my way to get them myself. I would only ever play them at a friend's house if they have them, or I'd play the goofier like Mario sports games and stuff like that. Just sillier sports games are more my cup of tea, if anything. But just with any game, like, ads are already annoying as is on websites, on YouTube videos, on anything that they're just taking up your time. So why am I, paying for a game that is then going to give me ads? It seems, and I understand that it's during the loading screens. So I guess it makes it feel like you're maybe watching TV and it's like in between things, and who knows how long the ads are. But like, when you start getting the same ad, like what's the ad diversity going to be like anyway, right? Like, let's say, because it is the loading screen, so that the loading screens lessens that burden a bit. But just how often are you going to get these ads, and what's the diversity? Am I going to eventually like memorize the ad with how often I hear it? They're going to like drill into my brain and just hurt me. It's one of those. I won't be affected by it. I won't be playing the game, but I just think it's silly.
Makes sense. So someone in chat asked what the poster is behind me, and I can't. This is not the exact one either, so I don't know why. This is probably the best picture I can find. So this is what the poster behind me is. The tower fan's kind of blocking it right now because it's hot in my room. I apologize that it's kind of blocking it, but this is the poster. Just
very nice.
Red Dead Redemption Undead. Keep in mind, I've not played Red Dead 1 or 2, and I didn't finish Undead Nightmare because I lacked the context behind it, so I didn't finish it. Because I wanted to, I need to play Red Dead 1 before I play Undead Nightmare, 100%. I need the context.
That's fair. They are both very solid. I've never played 2, but I did play 1 and Undead Nightmare, and both are very fun.
Why are you using Bing? Good question. Why are you not using Bing?
Ooh, that is a good counterpoint. I am a Chrome boy myself, but I Google it up. But,
you want to know the honest answer to why I use Bing? Podcast right here. So, what's up? We use Google. We use Google Chrome at the start because who doesn't by default use Google Chrome? When I go full screen in a video, it breaks. The stream, it either pauses on the stream or Discord can't see it. So that doesn't work. So we moved to Firefox, which still basically you can use Google with. And I mean, to be fair, I could use Google on Edge, but get into it. So Firefox, we had some stuttering issues with videos. So I said, fuck it, and I moved to Microsoft Edge. And Edge has Bing on by default. And it's not like Bing is a bad search engine. It doesn't bother me at all. I get Microsoft reward points or whatever nonsense from it. so I can get an Xbox Game Pass month for free down the road. So
Yeah, I mean,
there's
if it
no reason
benefits
for me
you-
to go back to Google.
yeah, if it benefits you, by all means, more power to you.
I mean-
You have a clear reason as to why. So I mean, hey,
It's a neutral thing, I guess. Like,
yeah.
I don't find Google inherently better or worse than Bing.
Yeah, I think I'm just in it for like my personal stance of Google versus Bing is just kind of like for the meme, just for the joke of it. I'm just like, yeah, like why would I use Bing? That's weird. But I inherently have no real issue with anything. If it gets me results and tells me what I want to know, you did it. That's your job.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But when it comes to NBA 2K21 and certain unskippable ads, I think it boils down to the people that play sports games. They generally, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, the sports games is literally like their one game they buy a year.
Yeah.
And they'll pay whatever. You could make it $100, doesn't matter. You could shove ads down their throat, doesn't matter. Because they only play the one game a year.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're gonna play it regardless.
They will not care what you do to it. It's if it has an elevated number, it is the next one and it is better and they need it.
Yep. Exactly. So,
Again,
Info,
Yes.
you should play the Melody of Memories demo.
Where all can you download it at? I'm guessing PlayStation only, right?
No, I think everything. Everything that has it, if I'm not mistaken. I know for sure Switch has it, PlayStation has it. I don't know about Xbox. I don't know if they have the demo. But Switch and PlayStation for sure.
Of course, PlayStation 4.
So the game will
Switch?
be on everything. Yeah.
And
The
Xbox
game-
One family of devices, including the Xbox One X. So you have no excuse then. That's what it sounds like. You have no excuse.
Yeah, you can find a way. I believe in you.
I believe in you, Info. It may take you a year to play the demo for a few minutes, but
When's the game come out?
I have no idea.
Next month. It's out the 13th of November.
Interesting.
Oh, that's my birthday.
Oh, that's funny. Mine is 2 days prior.
Oh, nice.
Happy early
right.
birthday, you guys.
Thank you.
You're so
around the
old.
corner. Oh yeah. Oof.
I don't know how
Eight.
old you are,
Ancient.
but I know I'm the youngest one here between me and Info. At 22.
I am 26.
Ooh, yeah, I'm the youngest. I feel like most episodes, I'm the youngest. I think that's how it boils down.
That's fair. At this point in time, the ages just kind of meld together. You know,
True.
it's more a matching of the minds and less of the exact age and you know that kind of mindset.
Very fair. Alright, so, I guess to sum up that last topic, Info deserves all his games to have some commercials in it. And moving on to our next trailer, because clearly Info has no thoughts on having to watch commercials every, let's say like 9 minutes. He plays a game, he has to watch an ad that's like 3 minutes long, like a TV. Yeah.
Because how long are the loading screens technically between matches? Like, is it just
I'm
like
sure
load?
they're longer with these ads.
I'd imagine they'd want to milk the ads. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't know what this is gonna be like. Maybe the people playing don't care. They'll probably use that as like a water break or something. I don't know. If they threw that into like, think of an open world game. You get that one loading screen every like 5 years, and during that loading screen, you just get an insane amount of like Tide stain removal stick ads or something.
Very fair. Very fair.
Just unpleasant.
Do you know anything about Immortals Phoenix Rising?
Yes, I do actually.
I know that it is Breath of the Wild-esque. It is Greek mythology, and I mean the basic gist. I think that's the piece that most people know.
Alright, well let's watch the story trailer and see how we feel.
In a world
where the gods are powerless to...
Really? Are you kidding me, Prometheus?
Zeus, I am the one telling the story.
You can't start the trailer that way.
Don't interrupt my narration.
I like the
Typhon,
meta humor.
destroyer of gods, is free. To stop him from turning the world into chaos, we must depend on a mortal
A mortal?
who washed ashore on a mysterious land. Unprepared for the destiny that awaits her.
Good luck with that.
Griffin? Let me go! Help! I'll save you!
Oh, look! She just saved Hermes' ass.
Shh! He's about to reveal the plot.
The vanquished gods need to be reunited with their severed essences to regain their power. Then, together, you must defeat Typhon. All we have, Phoenix, is you. No pressure.
Thanks. I think.
Thus, my dear cousin, begins the rise of Phoenix.
Possible storytelling, but with no epic action scenes whatsoever. Ah, now you're talking.
Show yourself!
So, she wins or what?
That, Zeus, you'll have to find out for yourself.
Oh, come on. Video games won't be invented for another 2,500 years.
Poor Zeus. So, December 3rd, 2020. I don't like that I paused that at the If you pause it a second before it, it puts you at the end. That's rude. I don't appreciate that. So, this is coming out on the Nobody Cares Stadia, the 5 people that own the Stadia. Reminder that you could put this console, you could put this game on the Nintendo Wii and get just as many sales on the Google Stadia. PS5/PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, the Epic Game Store, and everyone's favorite, Uplay.
Of course. Most popular.
So how did you guys feel about the Immortals Phoenix Rising story trailer?
Okay, so first of all, how the fuck you gonna put it on the Stadia and not Steam? I don't see Steam on that list. Is it
Epic
on there?
Games exclusivity, bro. It's everyday, bro, with the epic scummy show.
What the fuck? Okay, second of all,
questionable.
It's very questionable. Fucking fuck. Second of all, I've seen I don't know how many trailers for this game.
So many.
And yeah, I've seen quite a bit on this stuff. I remember seeing it at E3 and everything else. And this whole time I thought the main character was a guy. So whenever it turned out to be a chick, just now to me was.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if you can change the gender, but I know you can change like the appearance.
You have full customization, yeah.
Yeah.
You can make a guy or a girl. There's fully customizable character creator.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how
Okay,
in
so-
depth it goes in terms of sliders and stuff, but you can change a lot, yeah.
How do you
Okay, so
feel
then I'm
about
not crazy.
character customization? Do you want more or less?
Ooh, I like when they give me enough. I think
I
like
want-
a nice middle ground.
I want an optional more. I don't think more should be thrown on everybody. I get some people want to get in, get out. I am the person that, when I play a Fallout game, I spend hours in character customization.
Gotcha. I think having the option is nice, right? Because there are, for me, when I see that I can like change the size of one eye versus the other, and I can like move a nostril up like 2 degrees, like that, all that stuff is nice and all. But when I have all that freedom, it throws me off. I'm like, this is too much. I just want to like make my character and move on.
Preset 4, change hair, done.
Yeah, so it's like preset 4, how can I modify preset 4 to be customized for my liking? And, like kind of mess around a little bit, but I never dive into like all the extra sliders. It's like, have them there, sure. Have it also be streamlined that, they're kind of like a side idea. Like you don't have to dive in, but they're there for the people who like, I think character customization is a fun time.
Yes.
Especially when done well.
for me, all I want is hair, eyes, like face, gender, skin color, and height for the most part. Like, give me some presets and then just kind of let me mess with it from there. Because, for instance, we'll use Ark as an example. Ark has too many character customizations, in my opinion. And
Ark's
more
character
times than not,
customization isn't even good if you ask me.
it's not, but I can't tell you how many times me and my friends have ended up as a tribe of little green goblins running around the island destroying dinosaurs and other people.
By
Because
default, your
why not?
character looks unrealistic and bad.
I think the general spectrum of Ark is either little green goblins or large Popeye men, where
Yes.
you have giant forearms, and or ladies. You know, it works both ways, but just giant forearms. Little green goblins and giant four-armed humans are the two like extremes I feel that you just see. Always a
that
monstrosity.
Either that or you got the guys who, for whatever reason, want to play as a female with extremely large boobs, just extremely overly large balloons on their chest.
The
Listen, they like a lot of anime.
self-indulgent people who are all about the plot.
All about the plot.
Yeah, the character customization is, when handled well, is nice. Some games definitely give you a lot, and it can be overwhelming.
Enthu hit on a big one for character customization that gets overlooked. As a 5'4" person, I want to be able to play as a 5'4" person.
That is very fair.
But most games, they either don't let you adjust height, or it's taller is better.
That, and I think if they do let you adjust height, it's a very small window. It's not.
Yes.
It's not very far down or far up. It's kind of like in a mid to high range.
So, will you guys be purchasing a Myrtle's Phoenix Rising?
Yeah.
If I can, I think I'm interested. But if I would if I could.
I think I need to see your reviews for this game. Cause I've seen menus for this game, and that's the thing that looks sketch to me. Like,
yeah,
the menus kind of remind me of like a mobile game. Not gonna lie, I don't think it looks like a mobile game, but the menus are not it.
I think this could be one of those that I'd get it on like a sale, but not like a few years down the line where the price is dropped and then there's a sale. I'd get this on like a sale off of the main price.
If this got like a 90 to 95 on Metacritic or whatever insert game thing, and like it was like $20 and it was a good length, I could see it. And I'm talking 100 or at least dozens of hours of content.
I saw in the chat, Honey Rose mentioned the banter between Zeus and Prometheus, and I think having them as the narrators and having them just kind of maybe over your shoulder the whole time, just talking, I think that's great. That adds a level of charm that not a lot of games have, and the ones that do, they get noticed. Like, I think Stanley Parable is all about the narrator, yourself and the narrator, and I think those kind of games, they have an extra bit of oomph that you don't see often.
Yeah, that makes sense. So our last game trailer of the episode is a game called Monster Sanctuary. This is an announcement trailer. It's coming to the PlayStation 4 on December 8th. A minute long. I'm excited to see this trailer and get a vibe for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Already vibe with the music.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, 100%.
I like the side scroller. I like old school side scrollers like this.
Gives me like polished Terraria vibes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking was Terraria. That was the first thing that popped in my head.
Launching December 8th.
Interesting.
So, how did you feel about the trailer?
I think it did its job. Like we were talking about before, it showed us a bit of the menu navigations in terms of maybe not all of them, but it showed us some, and it showed us there's monsters involved and how you kind of interact with them. It showed us that there's the kind of exploration aspect where you kind of move around the world, but there's also a battle system that kind of takes its place in the vein of like loosely Pokemon, but maybe a little more like Persona style, where you have like a group of monsters instead of just the one at a time. The trailer, I think, does its job of showing us what's up, especially being an announcement trailer. This just lets us know, hey, we exist, and this is what we're bringing to the table.
Very true.
Like you said, I vibed with the music. That if the rest of the soundtrack is like that, it's that's a lot. That's big points. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'd like to see more, but more like consistent gameplay, I guess, like not interlaced or intercut like scenes, but just
you want a 15-minute gameplay video that's just straightforward and going through. That way you can get a vibe for the actual gameplay.
You can give me even 5 minutes, but just give it to me in a way where it's like you get from traversal to combat to maybe menu navigation all seamlessly, so I can see how things flow. Because it's very different seeing it jumping in a trailer than it is seeing it seamlessly to see how it kind of interacts with itself. So I think that in one of the later trailers like that may come after this, I think that would be something nice to see, or maybe just a general video to drop would be nice.
Very fair, very fair. How about you, Enfigo? Are you ready to buy this game right now?
I mean, nah. So I like games like that. I do, but I never end up playing them like super long, and I don't know. It's cool. Maybe for the right price, I'd end up getting it, but
$9.99.
That game's $10. I mean, $10 ain't a bad price.
I just made up a price.
10 is not bad. If it is 10 is not bad.
I don't think they. I don't think they're gonna have a price yet. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, it is, from what I'm seeing, it is, I think, published by Team 17.
Yes.
And unless it's like a recent Worms game, they're always in that ballpark. I think it's like 10 to 20 is their usual range, especially with something like this. So I could see it sitting at a comfy 15. And yeah, at that point it just becomes what is the game in its extended form like gonna offer me? Like what's the spice of life that it gives me besides just monster collecting and evolving and breeding and whatever it may be? It's the lore.
So, the interesting thing to me when it comes to Xbox boss Phil Spencer, this topic covers like 3 different things, but I personally only care to talk about one portion of it, and that's the Bethesda thing. I find it hilarious that they're twisting words and twisting meanings as if they're not about to yeet it off the PlayStation the moment it makes sense to, which is going to be very soon. Bethesda games will not be on Sony in like 2-3 years.
Yeah, if they basically, this is it's like a subtle power move. If they feel the need to just flex on Sony or something, it'd just be like, you know what, fine, our game is exclusive now, or like this Bethesda game is exclusive and you can do nothing about it. And Sony just kind of has to hold that L. Like they just can't really do anything about it.
And then Spencer was asked, is it possible to recoup a $7.5 billion investment if you don't sell Elder Scrolls 6 on the PlayStation? And he quickly replied, yes. I don't want to be flip about that. This deal is not done to take games away from another player base like that. I just want to add in a wink wink there. Nowhere in the documentation that we put together was, how do we keep other players from playing these games? We want more people to be able to play games, not fewer people to be able to play games. But I'll also say in the model, I'm just answering directly the question that you had when I think about where people are going to be playing and the number of devices that we had, and we have xCloud and PC and Game Pass and our console base. I don't have to go ship those games on any other platform other than the platforms that we support in order to kind of make the deal work for us, whatever that means. I love how he twists things. Don't worry, we don't want to take away games from the players. We don't want fewer people to be able to play. Don't worry. If you have a PC, you're good. But if you have a PlayStation, fuck you.
Also get a PC.
Also get a PC?
Or an Xbox, yeah.
Or an Xbox.
I do, at the very least, appreciate that he has remained on the same stance for as long as I can remember. He's about the gamers. He's less about this whole console war nonsense, and he's mostly about getting gamers their games, having everybody playing. And whether that's the truth or not, who knows? But that's just always, I think, the what he said. He's still spitting that out.
He can say this. I'll give him credit if Bethesda always continues to release to Sony as well. The moment that they stop releasing to Sony, which they will, I don't think these words mean anything.
Oh no, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, at that moment, it's a shaky bridge, because the moment, like you said, the moment that it happens, and if Sony gets crazy, because we know Sony is just they're reckless sometimes. The minute they try to like flex on Xbox, and Phil Spencer would just be like, "Listen, guys, just make it exclusive. That's it. Everything except put it on Nintendo. Just everything except Sony, and then Sony's gonna lose their mind." And yeah, at that point, he's kind of fitting in that bar because he's putting it on Nintendo. But yeah, I can see that it's left open so that he could very much be like, yeah, we're not committing to not going exclusive or anything.
And I mean, I definitely think that you flex PC as a way to say you're not removing players from the player base, but while to some that makes sense, that's not a logical jump.
Because not everyone has a PC, let alone one that can handle a game that maybe like a upper end Bethesda game.
Yes.
So yeah, you have a lot of PC gamers, but you have to weigh that based on the numbers of people who actually do have that. And then again, you do have people who own multiple systems, like an Xbox and a PlayStation. So it's not impossible. But it is a shaky bridge. It's a weird path to walk.
Now,
Definitely
Info.
Through that.
Info has the Microsoft Xbox bias compared to me having a Sony PlayStation bias.
Oh, okay, so
we kind of lean on two different ends. So do you take my translation of what he says as just inherently biased and wrong? Or how do you feel about what he said?
I don't really know. I mean, to me, exclusivity is really stupid as it is. I've never been one for it, period. And if he did down the road turn around and be like, okay, we're going to make this exclusive, I'd be partially disappointed because of his whole thing where he's like, Xbox is for the players. And, I don't know. At the same time, I feel like he could do it, though. I mean, anything's possible. Anything is possible, and he could very easily up and be like, okay, well, fuck you guys, too. I feel like this was kind of his way at taking a stab at Sony for their exclusivity, because it's not the first time he's done this. Like, back when the whole Fortnite, when PlayStation infused the whole cross-plat thing, Phil Spencer was right there at the head of the shit going, well, guys, we can play cross-platform on Xbox. I'm just saying. He even teamed up with not Twitch, but the Switch at Nintendo, and he even sent out things and was like, "Hey, Nintendo, you guys want to play Fortnite with us through the crossplay because we have it and you guys have it and PlayStation don't." And they just kind of took the piss out of it to the point where PlayStation was like, "Fuck it, fine, all right, you know what, fuck it." they implemented crossplay. Now I feel like stuff like this is Phil Spencer's way of stabbing and jabbing at Sony to try and make like the player base for games and stuff like that kind of be like, okay, yeah, this is wrong, and maybe we shouldn't support this kind of business practice in an attempt to like change how gaming itself works. And ultimately, he's done a okay job at it so far. He's gotten some things changed that Sony was stuck in their ways about. So,
I like Hellraiser's saying he came in and said the goal is to burn it all down. I don't know what y'all are talking about, but the goal is to burn it all down. Then he later said, Sony is a bitch, but it doesn't stop me from playing my PS4. No skin off my back.
This is true. I agree with Infu a lot with in terms of the crossplay thing, for example. Without I feel like Phil Spencer had a big part of just making that kind of happen sooner. It's constantly, these kind of shady jabs of like, hey, Nintendo wanna play with us? We can do this. And then kind of glancing over at Sony with like a side eye, like, hey, you guys want to join us? Oh, you can't. And it's such a stupid thing that Sony is just kind of stuck in their ways of like, no, we're only doing things for ourselves. We're gonna focus on us. It's like, cool, have your stuff, have your exclusive things, but like, don't use, for example, I think one of their excuses for not having crossplay or something was like regulating like voice chats and stuff. It's like, that's not an excuse. You don't have to allow the chats to intermix. That's at that point, that's on the hands of the chatter. You can definitely handle games, and that's all you need to. They were just being hooligans, and I'm glad that they started opening that up, the floodgates, so to speak. That's
very fair. Very fair. So, from gaming direct topics, we now move on to some 10th Dentist topics, which, by the way, the 3 debate topics we're about to go over are all gaming-related debates. So I feel like they really go well hand in hand. So this first one, for everyone that is new to the podcast, we go over these 10th Dentist topics, which are... The goal is someone goes to the subreddit and posts something that they feel or do that is unpopular compared to everyone else. And then they share that and see if it holds true. And if that is actually an unpopular thing. Now, here on the podcast, we cut off heads if they get too crazy. Enfu has his axe. He'll cut a head off.
Always.
You
see,
it's necessary sometimes.
You always gotta have your axe with you.
Yes. So first up, we have Wyatt Lee Clausen 6. That said, games that hold your hand most of the way tend to be better than games that don't. I seriously have never been able to understand why anyone would want to play a game that just dumps you straight in. A good game should 100% of the time tell you where to go, how to solve obscure puzzles, or make them obvious to the player. For example, Dark Souls. I don't exactly have experience with Dark Souls, but I recently tried Bloodborne while it was free on the PlayStation Now. What the fuck? Most of the enemies were fine for a while, but then all of a sudden, I was told that I needed to get past a fucking huge mob of them with my dinky weapons. There wasn't any way around them from what I could tell, so I just kept dying. I already used my Molotov cocktails by that point and had no clue how to get more. So I had to reset the entire game and try again to preserve them. And they still didn't do much to the mob, and I ended up running out and still dying a bunch. I spent 5 hours trying to get past that area to no avail. So duckin' boring. Versus games like Pokemon, where all the puzzles are simple and easy-ish, and I can focus on the actually important parts. The story progression, the characters, and the development, and the simple battle gameplay.
Ooh. That one was loaded.
Now, here's the thing. I want to start off with this guy. Listen, you're bad at Dark Souls. It's okay. You're allowed to be bad. But you're allowed to be bad. If you seriously can't get past a part in 5 hours, you probably shouldn't have played for 5 hours straight. You probably should have took a break and come back at it later. And if you still couldn't beat it, hey, maybe it ain't for you, my friend. Dark Souls is a bad example of, like, I agree with their fundamental point of games that hold your hand most of the way. I'd prefer that. I don't know if they tend to be better, but I would say that I would prefer them guide me than not guide me. But I think it should be optional either way. I think they should have it in all games, but have it be optional in a toggle you have to turn on.
I can see that. My stance is, first of all, Dark Souls and Bloodborne are a very extreme example that this person used, that in the nature of that example will absolutely prove their point, because those games are just, you dive in there blind.
Yes.
But that being said, there are games that straddle the middle of the line, middle of the road very well. You do not want something to, I think what they said was, a game should 100% of the time tell you where to go, how to solve obscure puzzles, or make them obvious. I disagree. If it's obvious, then it's not a puzzle.
True.
You can drop hints. There are some games that give you crazy puzzles that it's like, whoa, how would I ever figure this out? But if those are few and far between, cool. But give players hints and maybe drop a crumb on the ground to set them, like, to start the fire so that they can kind of follow the trail themselves, but don't outright paint the path for them. Because then you're not really playing a game, you're just kind of walking on a track. For example, I think having the balance, I'll use Breath of the Wild as an example because I think it did it well. It has the balance of, you can explore and do whatever the hell you damn well please, or you can follow the kind of markers that are like, hey, this is where your main storyline is if you want to continue the main story, or explore and come across a potential side quest or something. Then that just mixes in with just general game common sense and knowledge, where you're just like, okay, how would I figure this out? Maybe I can try this, and you kind of just press all your buttons and figure out mechanics of the game itself. You figure out what you can do. In terms of their angry mob, you realize you don't fight them and you move past them. You run around, kind of find a way to move around them, and you get past that area. If a mob held you up in Bloodborne, then you're not making it far into Bloodborne. As someone who has recently played through it, that is not, if you can't make it past a mob of regular people, you are not making it past a giant creature.
True. 100%.
I disagree with this opinion. I understand it, where they're coming from. Bloodborne and Dark Souls are an example of games that are super out there in terms of giving you any help. But I mean, that's like I said, an extreme example.
Hellraiser believes in, if at first you do not win, try again. I agree with that to a point. I think eventually it becomes annoying.
Take a break. Take a break, maybe come back.
See, I find
I'm that way,
most games that put me through enough, like, annoyance that I stop playing, I don't finish those games often. I'll go back to it, and then I'll quickly quit the game. Because when you've already demotivated me enough to stop playing, like on stream, for a good example, if I don't play a game for 6 hours, that game needs to change fast. A good game, I'll play for 6 hours. Easy.
Yeah.
A good game to me.
Sure.
But on stream, if I'm stopping games in the middle because I'm at a point of exhaustion with it, I think that says something about the game.
Yeah, for sure. I've had the effect where I'm enjoying a game so much that I would want to keep streaming, but I'm also in a case of like, you know what, I'm just gonna cut it off here. This is a good cutting off point. And then the whole time I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait till next stream. This game is so fun.
I feel that way about the game I'm playing right now and the last game I played. I could stream those for a long time.
Yeah, those are the ones you hang on to. Those are the fun ones.
Yes. But overall, I definitely disagree with this guy.
Yeah, same here.
And so, do you agree with this person? Do you think that games need to hold your hand 100%?
No. I mean, sometimes it's nice whenever games are a bit, I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on this because I don't mind them per se. Like I don't mind games that like kind of tell you where to go. I don't want them entirely holding my hand, but it's also one of those things where it's like if it's an open world game and I'm off exploring and I see a big group of monsters, I want to jump in and get my shit rocked if I'm not supposed to be there. I don't want the game going, no, don't go there now. No, I want to find out the hard way.
That's a bad player. Slap on the arm. Go back that way.
Yeah, no, I don't want that slap on the wrist saying go back now. No, I want to find out the hard. I fucked around and I found out. Damn it, that's what I'm wanting.
You want to turn the oven on and put your hand on it to make sure it's hot.
I chose this life. This life did not choose me. I strongly agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, for sure. We all disagree with this person, which is an upvote for him, by the way. 81% upvoted as well, so I'd say they're doing pretty well with themselves. I think they're off to a good start with their opinion. Next up, we have the Ultimate 00, who said the Nintendo 64 is not and never was a very good console. Get ready to listen, because we got a long read ahead.
We got a story.
Do not like the Nintendo 64 or the games featured on the console. I'd like to first argue that the previous generation of consoles and the PlayStation 1's offerings at the time were much better than the Nintendo 64. Meaning it's not just a product of its time that aged poorly. Take sound design first. I think the chip-tuned sounds of the SNES and especially the PS1 are leagues better than the N64 sound font. The SNES has incredible soundtracks, and the N64's best is worse than the PS1's average throwaway filler song. People generally don't use soundtrack playlists from the Nintendo 64 games. As for graphics, I think the dense pixel art of the SNES will always look better than the higher quality graphics of the N64. Just because there was higher fidelity doesn't mean it looks better. I've always thought the Nintendo 64 games look gross all the time. As for games, I don't see the Mario 64 / Ocarina of Time best game ever has yet to be beat argument. Mario 64 controls terribly. Mario is hard to control, and the amount of momentum makes the game feel like you're playing underwater. I go back to my not just a product of its time argument, because I think Super Mario World will always be more fun to play than Mario 64. Ocarina of Time's Z-targeting combat is slow and consists of enemies blocking. Block and wait for attack. Enemy finished attack. Attack. The game is also much more cryptic in the overworld than people remember, especially Majora's Mask. Mario Kart 64 is considered one of the worst / slowest entries in the series. Pilot Wings is touted as one of the best N64 games, and I don't see the appeal. And come on, if Pilot Wings is the best you have to offer, GoldenEye has awful controls, runs ludicrously slow. The objectives are obtuse, and it's ugly to boot. It feels like a downgrade from SNES action games. Then there's Mario Party. And yeah, those games are pretty excellent. Big fan. They do exactly what they set out to do, and they have a big fun factor, which I think is lacking from the rest of the N64 lineup. Ultimately, I think the console is just less fun to play than the previous generation's lineup, and especially the PS1's lineup. Furthermore, there's like 10 good games for the console, and they're all made by Nintendo or Rare. The few good games say nothing about the overwhelming amount of absolute trash present on the system. All of the good games are practically hidden gems. I think the consoles technically are marvel and did so much good for gaming, but I think it was less fun than everything else available. What are your thoughts?
Ooh, that one was loaded. Infu, if you have more immediate thoughts, feel free to take the lead.
This dude's a hater. The whole time this is just being read, I was just kind of sitting here thinking, his head definitely needs to come off. He doesn't need it anymore. He doesn't. He's clearly not putting it to proper good use. So he definitely does not need it.
I think my head almost came off at the end of reading that. I could feel pressure like right at the bottom of my head at the end.
I'm sorry
it was rough.
Sorry that this text had to leave you, like leave your mouth, like you had to speak this in the world.
It was a long read, but you know, I understand where they're coming from. I mean, clearly they stated their opinion. They stated it.
Oh, they let us know.
They let us know.
We know what they feel.
It was the ultimate 0-0 for sure.
I can't. So my thing is, I disagree, but I disagree with understanding. So I know I can see where they're coming from. They gave very good examples, and I will agree with a lot of it. I think something that I first thought of when I saw the post title was, yeah, I'd argue that there's better consoles for music. For visuals, you maybe have some things that might surpass it a bit. It has the nostalgia factor, and it has the fun games, as they mentioned, Mario Party. Again, a lot of the games that are some of the most fun are like straight up first party Nintendo games, and maybe by Rare. But you still have these like side games. I know a lot of people that'll bring up things like Jet Force Gemini, things of that nature. And in terms of the music, I've only recently been introduced to a game called Buck Bumble, which was on the N64 and has one of the greatest opening themes I've ever heard. So, but again, one song does not save a console. So I understand where they're coming from with a lot of their arguments, but I wouldn't say that it was never a good console. It is maybe looked upon with a lot of nostalgia, and you know, maybe that's clouding people's visions of claiming it so highly, especially for the people who played it in their prime youth period, where it was the most effective, or formative years, so to speak. But I wouldn't say it was never good.
I think it was a revolutionary console for what it was, and that long term didn't really make a big impact on like nowadays. It's not a great console in 2020, but I feel like if I look at the Nintendo 64 versus the PS1, as they stated, I definitely think PS1 would be way above. But I don't think the Nintendo 64 is bad. I think it has some good games. I think this person is discounting like Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. I definitely think they're cutting that a bit much.
Yeah, I'm not someone who I'm a big Zelda fan, but Ocarina of Time wasn't my first, so I don't have as much of an emotional tie to it as other people did. Mario 64 is one of those games that I feel like I go back to like once every year or two, and I just run through it quickly because I just the nostalgia of it all. Do I agree that it is not a fantastic game by today's standards? Absolutely not. Or absolutely, yeah. It has its problems. But I still go back to it because it just feels good. Like it feels good in my mind. I haven't played it in recent times to compare again. I think like every year you notice something different. So maybe if I play it now, I'd be like, oh, I hate this. This is terrible. But it stands a position of being these. I think they mentioned it as well. It's steps into the transition of gaming, the jumps to 3D. That led us to where we are now. So you have to appreciate it for that. And yeah, I mean the arguments against it, I can understand them. I respect them. But I think never is the word that's ruining this argument for me. I wouldn't say never.
Very fair. So I think we're all in a disagreement with this person as well.
Yeah, very.
I think they can lose their head.
Yeah, their head's coming off. It's been decided.
Their opinion was more unpopular than the last. The last was 81%. This was 85% of voted.
Ooh.
So our last debate for now, we have _ the pancake _ and thankfully they did not write a whole goddamn story for theirs, not 3 in a row. They keep it short and sweet. I don't like The Legend of Zelda, especially the music. Lordy, I've tried to get into it because my best friend loves it, but I just don't like it. I've even wasted my money on a couple of the games, got bored of Breath of the Wild before I even left that plateau thing. And if I'm listening to a Nintendo music compilation, every single time I'm not feeling a song, I check the time code and it's always a Zelda song. And I do want to like it so I can talk to my best friend about it, but man, I just can't get into it. That said, I do know quite a lot about it because I always let my friend talk about it because I love it when people are passionate about stuff. And they had an edit to answer a really common statement. I do not like does not equal they think it's bad. And I like does not equal the thing is good. It's a good series, I just don't like it.
Okay,
so
this one I saw and I'm like, we have to talk about this one. I mentioned earlier, I'm a big Zelda fan. I've already referenced Breath of the Wild a few times throughout the podcast. And this is one of those I wanted to talk about for the express purpose of saying that I don't agree with them, but I am capable of, like, I'm not like, oh, they have to die. If I met this person, I'd be like, cool. Like, specifically them putting that edit there that says, I do not like something does not equal,
it's bad.
Yeah, that's a common thing that people can't understand, especially big like hardcore fans of stuff. They can't fathom anyone not liking the same thing they like, and I made it a point to not be that way because there are definitely things that I don't like that other people love, and I wouldn't want them to try to chase me with a torch and pitchforks and stuff because I didn't like their thing. That being said, this person doesn't like the music, doesn't like playing it, maybe hasn't found the right one for him or her, them. And that aside, you can always look into the lore. If you like fantasy adventure stuff, you can just look into the lore of the world, the lore of the games themselves, because it is interesting, game to game and just overall. I mean, there are ways to get into it that let you talk to your friend without having to indulge in the music or the gameplay itself. Because again, not everything is for everyone, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, coming after the music is, I have to cut off their head. I'm okay with it.
I like Hellraiser who said, I like The Legend of Zelda. Zelda's sword and shield style is nice, but I don't know who this Link is. I mean, honestly, who is this fucking Link? Why do they keep trying to shove this loser in the franchise?
They're always rubbing him around and just like, listen, just like rubbing him in our face. It's like, listen, get this name out of here. All about Zelda.
Exactly. 100%. Memes are good. Hey, listen. Links are good. So. We all disagree with this again. And this person had the second most disagreed upon opinion at 83% upvoted. So not quite the 84%. But,
It didn't quite make it to the top spot, but...
Not quite the top spot, but we all disagree with all three.
This one I just don't think was as like inherently blasphemous as the last one, where they straight up were just like, this was never good. This person is just like, it's not for me. Like, this is just not my thing. The last person just had hatred. They had vitriol in their heart.
Hey, listen, sometimes you gotta tear something down so it can just die.
Yeah, I understand.
So, from the debate topics, we move on, still in a gaming genre, kinda. So, today, it was announced that an Assassin's Creed live-action series is currently in development at Netflix. The series is part of a deal between Netflix and video game company Ubisoft to develop content based on the best-selling video game franchise. The deal will include live-action, animated, and anime series. So, here's my thing. I love Assassin's Creed. But the last time we live-actioned it was that movie. And that movie was trash.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Disliked that movie strongly.
I never got around to seeing it. It was the Michael Fassbender, I believe, movie. He the main actor?
No idea.
I don't know.
I would
I know
not
it was a
recommend
thing.
it.
I just don't. I never got around to seeing it. Wow, yeah. What I do like about this is specifically the animated or anime series. The live action is hit or miss. I've heard good things about the Witcher show. So if they
Witcher
follow
show
suit,
seems to be good.
yeah, I've heard good things about that. Netflix has been on point with a lot of their stuff, at their adaptations and whatnot. So in terms of animated and anime, I trust them. Live action, we'll see. There's also the case of animated, and anime let you do a lot more grandiose things. They're probably the closest to the games that you'd get. I mean, there's potential here. There's potential in terms of what they cover. If they're original stories and not adaptations directly to like the games, that could be interesting as well. Yeah, this is a kind of a let's wait and see where it goes situation for me.
I've seen a sentiment on live action and or just the Assassin's Creed thing. Do any series made on this franchise need to not bring up the animus at all? That's a sentiment I've seen brought up a lot, that they don't want the animus brought into it, and they just want people and whatever time and the assassins of the past and stuff doing their thing.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I haven't played all the games, but if I'm not mistaken, I think after maybe the fourth one, Black Flag, they stopped using the animus. If I'm not I don't know. I can't tell you exactly, but I feel like at some point in the games, the animus does become not relevant, and I think that serves to better the game because you're not running these two concurrent plot threads. And I mean, they're mirrored enough that you have conflict in both sides, and it adds extra tension, like knowing that there's a body in a machine that is in this matrix that could be attacked at any moment. But if you take that away, you're dealing with just the main focus of whatever's happening in the assassin's time. I think that in and of itself is interesting. Like, you don't need the external situation. You don't need the animus.
That's fair. How are you, Infu? How do you feel about the Assassin's Creed Netflix deal?
I mean, if done properly, I mean, they did the Witcher show and the Witcher was good. So I think it's possible. I don't, video games to me aren't full on meant to be made into a show a lot of times. There are some games that I would love to have a show of, like Destiny. I'd love to have a Destiny TV show. That'd be amazing to me. But Assassin's Creed is one of those things where there's a lot that they have to bank on getting right. And Assassin's Creed involves a lot of murder. So, they're going to have to obviously include them getting assassinated. And
Whoa. You have to include assassinations in a franchise called Assassin's Creed? Deal breaker.
The reason I say this because, depending on what kind of rating they want to go for the show, it would hurt it a lot, I would think. So, I think there's a lot of things we'll have to be careful with and such. I think it could end up being good. The movie that they released was absolutely... I watched it, and it confused the ever-loving fuck out of me. I was confused the whole time I was watching it. I understood none of it, and I left the movie with more questions than I ever had answers to begin with. So, as long as they don't pull some shit like that just confuses the fuck out of you, it can be okay, I think.
Makes sense.
I noticed in the chat, Hellraiser mentioned the animus done right would be interesting, but done wrong, the movie is going in the grave. And I agree, yeah. I think the best way to do it is just to not include it at all and just focus entirely on the assassin's time period and what they're going through. But if they are throwing in the animus, like I said, it adds tension because you have a person, a physical body in a machine whose mind is going into this time period. If something happens out there, that affects them, and that in turn affects the assassin, I assume. And it maybe not directly, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're just living the experience. They're not exactly making the decisions. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you're going through it right now, so maybe you might know more freshly than I do. Yeah, I think if handled well, I agree. It'll be an interesting experience. If not, just cut out the animus. You don't need it. I'd ask you, Wes, if you're going through Brotherhood right now, if I'm not mistaken. if they took out the instances where you pop out of the Animus, would you still be enjoying the game?
Yes.
So that's I think my
But
biggest.
the story without the context of what happens outside the Animus would definitely be significantly hurt.
That's fair. That's fair. Because I know there is a reason for diving into the Animus and experiencing the Assassins' kind of lore, and what they went through. But yeah, like it's a mixed bag. I don't know. It's again, we'll have to wait and see where they take it. But if done well, the Animus is a strong addition. And if they can't figure it out, just make the full focus the Assassin and have that be, what it is.
Assassin's Creed is 100% M-rated. It has to be. If you're not prepared to make it M-rated, good to stop.
Yeah, and I don't think Netflix is afraid of that. I think Netflix will cross that line if they have to. I've seen plenty on Netflix where they are more than willing to cross the line.
100%. So, next up, we're actually slowly getting away from games. So this is, I want to, before we watch this trailer, I want to ask, what is everyone's experience with Power Rangers?
Oof, I have seen a lot. I've been around.
How about you, Infu? What is your Power Rangers experience?
I've actually never liked Power Rangers. To me,
wow.
the concept, to me, it's always been absolutely a silly concept for a show. It's never done anything for me. It's never appealed to me. To me, it's just goofy people in goofy suits that are supposed to be like extremely off-brand discount Batmans. That's exactly what the fuck they are.
Wow, what a hater.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard them compared to Batman, and I think that's hilarious.
Can we vote to cut off Infu's head for this opinion?
I don't know. We have to see how many upvotes he gets.
That's fair. All right, chat. Agree or disagree with Infu's nonsense? I hate them, but they are meh to me. So, for the context of this trailer, by the way, I just want to point out this is an official thing. This is not a fan-made thing. The one thing I'll say about Power Rangers, I think they had an excuse a decade and a half ago, / like 15, 20 years ago when it came to some of the things they did. The fact that some of these things have not changed, and 2020, bro. And they're still riding the same cheap train. And that's hilarious to me. That was the most hilarious part I've seen on Power Rangers lately. But a Power Ranger anime would be better than the live action. Bullshit. I think you get rid of the charm if you put it into anime. It'd probably be better overall, but I think you remove the charm from it.
I think the cheese...
Get rid of something that was never there to begin with.
The cheese is part of the experience.
So I want to keep in mind, the guy in the middle, the guy that's about to be talking, this was the first Red Ranger.
Yeah.
He doesn't look the same anymore. He's a couple decades older. He's gained a few pounds, but same guy. They love bringing people back.
So you're Goldar Maximus, huh? I hope you're a lot tougher than the last one we defeated.
Oh, I am! And I brought an army, too!
Army? That's not an army.
Huh? A power coin? What is that?
Now this is an army.
It won't be when we're done, Jason.
It's morphin' time.
Unleash the power!
Tyrannosaurus!
I just want to point this out. The body transformation that transformation made for him is miraculous. That's the experience you want.
That is funny.
That's a weight loss plan.
What the Ginyu Force head ass?
That's Power Rangers. This clip sums up Power Rangers completely.
Oh man.
Am I wrong? This sums it up.
What a ride. Oh, here's my takeaway from this. I haven't watched Power Rangers actively in years, and I think I definitely put the nail in the coffin for myself in terms of watching it when they made their jump to being on Nickelodeon.
Fair.
Because I feel like you could see the quality shift, right? The tone of the show, it almost felt like it was even more kiddish. At least prior to that, if it was for kids, but you could see some teen angst and like 90s teen angst, like where it was like a punkish show. After a certain point, like more recently, it's become this kind of like current like kids show where it's like they're all like super sweet to each other, and like they were nice back then, but they were learning lessons. Now it's just like things are happening. I don't know. It's a very different vibe, and I've just fallen off. My only time whenever I come back to it is through these clips where they're like, hey, this person is showing up, and I'm like, oh, I know this guy, this is from my childhood. And that's how they get the nostalgia factor. You get the crossover episodes where they bring in other teams, older teams of Rangers that maybe you did watch, and it's like, ooh, I want to like either check out this episode or I want to check out this clip. And that's what I felt with this one. I'm like, oh, Austin St. John, I know who that is. That was my Red Ranger. That's who I grew up with. So I got to see this. I got to see what this clip is about.
And did you agree that this just summarizes Power Rangers in 1 minute and 20 seconds?
There's some outliers that aren't in here, but this is a good example of like some of the craziness that Power Rangers can hit.
Yeah.
It's just have a bunch of Rangers coming out of portals for no reason. Well, I mean, there's a reason, but just why? How did they get there? Who activated that? Did his willpower? Did they just have perfect timing to know that he was going to say a word and that was going to trigger the portals? I don't know. The body shift, just classic Power Rangers. You know, you never look the same. Yeah, it's Power Rangers through and through. You know.
What is everyone's opinion on Gravity Falls? I don't know what that is. Not on my radar.
I loved it when I watched it. It's an animated series from Disney Channel that aired a few years ago. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
I thought the show was a bit bizarre. I seen it when my sister would watch it, but and it never did anything for me.
That's fair. I'm a big cartoon person, so I definitely like dip my toe into all these different pools of shows and whatnot. Cast a wide net.
Hey, that's fair. So, this episode marks the return of Florida and the Florida spirit. And the best way to kick this off is with this squirrel. This squirrel was a part in an illegal $1 million flying squirrel trafficking ring. This squirrel is where we're going to begin our Florida person journey. So...
Oh man.
Flying squirrels are a protected species in Florida. So these 7 men, highly illegal activity. They would catch the squirrels in rural Florida, sell them to dealers in Florida as well as Georgia, who would then in turn find buyers in South Korea. And they were arrested, having caught an estimated 36,000 in the past 3 years, amounting to approximately $1 million of value. And I think the most notable thing with this is not really the big story with it, just the fact that you had this operation going on that is these people, these Florida, this picture is peak Florida.
I think that's funnily enough, it's the running gag with the Florida people articles, is that the minute you see the photos, you immediately think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that tracks. These are the people I expected to see every time without fail. I feel like I haven't seen one yet where I'm just like, oh, I didn't expect that. I think every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, this looks like a Florida person that fits this story.
So they had a $1 million flying squirrel trafficking ring. Yeah, $1 million flying squirrel trafficking ring. Hellraiser.
Or what?
They made money. All you have to do is you gotta get these flying squirrels, catch them, sell them. Eventually, they end up in South Korea for some reason.
Hey, if there's demand, I guess, yeah.
You gotta go where the money takes you. On a scale of 1 to 5, how do you rate these Florida people? These 7 Florida gentlemen making money.
I think I don't know. Alien X004.
Actually, excuse me. 7 suspects so far have been arrested, with many more expected.
Oh, this is a squadron. All right.
The accused all face charges ranging from conspiracy to commit racketeering to grand theft.
My goodness. What? Is the flying squirrel business that lucrative?
Did you see the picture of the flying squirrel? Would you not also want this flying squirrel? Hello?
Yeah, but they're giving it away. I know why they're like, the other people want it, but why are these guys trying to get rid of it? Or do they hate it?
They want money.
Guess they like money more than the squirrels, and then they can just get another squirrel.
Exactly.
And they have the money. Yeah.
They've had 36,000 of them. They can get 36,000 more. Well, not anymore. They got busted, but they can go for it.
Yeah, it's a cute squirrel.
It is a cute squirrel. I think that's the big takeaway I want to make from this. This is a very adorable squirrel.
How dare they?
Off with their heads for abusing the poor squirrel. The squirrel did nothing wrong. So next up in the Florida spirit, we have, moving on from a squad of Florida men, we have this person who I'll pop up the picture for you for the stream. This lovely person. This Florida woman blames a windy day for blowing cocaine into her purse. I mean, clearly, before we even read into the story, I mean, clearly, when it's a windy day, you have to close your purse because cocaine just flies in all the time.
Oh, it's such a hassle. You don't understand.
It's such a hassle. And, you know, when it's snowing as well, you gotta close your purse. Otherwise, the cocaine just drops in.
I never leave my house without, first checking that my purse is closed.
Very fair. You got to.
It's almost an...
So, they busted this woman carrying cocaine in her purse. You know, she was swerving her car. While interrogating her, one of the officers smelled an odor of marijuana coming from inside the car, and after a search, they found some marijuana and cocaine in separate bags. And although she admitted that the marijuana was hers, she said she did not know anything about the cocaine. She repeatedly would say she had no idea where it came from. And they quoted her in a police report. I don't know anything about any cocaine. It's a windy day. It must have flown through the window and into my purse. So, that's this person. They arrested her on 1 felony count of cocaine possession and a misdemeanor count of marijuana possession. But, she got out later, so it's all good. But
what a mess.
Do you think she's innocent or guilty? Did the wind, a windy day, cause it to blow through her window into her purse? What's the verdict?
I've seen the wind do some things, so...
Same? The wind is pretty sus.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think you can trust it.
This one's inconclusive to me. I think there's too many factors.
Inconclusive. Ooh. What about you, Info? Innocent or guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty. Wow. You don't trust her? You don't trust her at her word that she had no idea about the cocaine?
Look, I've seen the wind pick up whole entire trampolines and throw them like they're a piece of fucking paper, okay? But I promise you that there is not going to be any force of wind that can come by that's going to steal cocaine from a drug dealer and put it in this woman's purse. It ain't happening.
How dare.
Dexterity required in that wind. Astronomical.
How dare.
No,
So-
I think Infu may have swung my decision towards guilty. So
Wow, this poor woman is guilty because of Infu. How dare.
She ain't guilty because of me. She guilty because she had the cocaine on her.
That's just an accusation. As her loyal, I must say that she's innocent.
Okay, well, you have fun with that case. I'm gonna have fun being right.
How dare you? This goes back to that one time where I was clearly in the right. Clearly. That one time. So this next Florida person, no picture for this Florida person, unfortunately. A 37-year-old man faces a felony charge after deputies say... Keep in mind, the deputy said this. Can you really trust them? I think not. I'll be the lawyer here as well. He used a 24-cent Kool-Aid packet to ring up nearly $1,000 worth of merchandise at a North Naples Walmart on Sunday. He faces charges of grand theft and shoplifting. Around 5:45, the deputies were called to the Walmart in response to a theft in progress. A store loss prevention officer watched this guy scan merchandise with a Kool-Aid pack concealed in his hand, so the items rang up 24 cents. He rang up 3 Kool-Aid packets and some other small items, totaling $24.44 for $994.13 worth of merchandise. And apparently, the loss prevention officer told deputies that she recognized this guy from an incident in August where he attempted to walk out of the store with merchandise that was not paid for. And due to this previous attempt, she, with a bias in her heart, followed him, waiting for him to do something wrong around the store, and watched him pretend to scan items that were in the shopping cart. So she says, including a backpack that contained merchandise that hasn't been paid for at the self-checkout registers. She watched this guy remove 2 items, a soda and a fan, from a shelf and then take them to customer service where he received a refund in the amount of $9.48 after he showed them a cell phone picture of a receipt. So, he apparently also walked out of the store with a shopping cart full of unpaid items, including a Scootle valued at $248, a dual navigation system worth $119, and $160 worth of batteries. Listen. This guy is just trying to channel his inner Sly Cooper. There's nothing wrong with that.
you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
That's a lot of batteries.
Listen.
I don't know what the price at, but I know Walmart sells them in like packs that are like decently sized for cheap. So that's a lot.
You need the scooter to go. He wants to navigate his way with the dual navigational system all the way to the tip top of Canada.
Yeah, there's definitely a plan here.
Yes, exactly. So once again, I'm gonna go innocent. Clearly, this loss prevention officer, without a shadow of a doubt, had an ingrained bias the moment this person walked in the store. Before they ever did anything wrong, she already had a bias and was on the lookout for them to do something wrong.
Yeah, I can't deny that, but this guy might also just be an idiot savant, you know?
How?
This person is an idiot savant.
How dare. Master thief is what we call this person, clearly.
This is the type of person who, you know, stumbles their way through a heist and alerts everyone, but still makes it out, you know? Whether they get caught later or not, that's up in the air, but they get through the heist. That's I think the most important takeaway, that, you know, they made it through.
I have a better idea for this person that would actually be a lot better. So, clearly you don't get busted for crimes beforehand. That ruins your chances. And if you do, you need to go to a different Walmart that nobody knows you at. You need to purchase a Kool-Aid thing, and immediately you need to buy a bottle of water on a Kool-Aid thing, use it, and then pretend like you're throwing it away. And you do that over and over again for a few days. That way they know you, they know what you buy. They know you immediately put it together and you throw it away. And then one day, it turns out you weren't actually throwing one of them away. So you have it in your pocket, you buy what you normally buy, and you swap it out right after you get the receipt. You pull the other thing out of your pocket. Nobody's watching you, so you can fill that bad boy up with $990 whatever worth of merchandise. And, you know, they're not going to suspect a thing, and there you go. You win.
Yeah, I mean, it's foolproof.
Exactly. Name one problem with that plan.
What if the receipt isn't long enough?
What does that matter?
So oftentimes when you buy an insane amount of things, so for example, if this person has $900 worth of merch, that receipt is probably going to reflect that. The receipt would probably be fairly lengthy. So
but they don't know that. They don't know you have $990 something worth of merch. They never know. They never see you with it.
Oh, if they never, all right, so yeah, then it doesn't matter. If they never see you, then yeah.
Because your whole alibi is every day you go into the store, you buy one single water bottle, and you buy one single Kool-Aid packet, and you combine them immediately after you purchase them. And then you throw it away. Except for the one day where you don't throw it away, but you make it look like you threw it away. And they won't suspect a thing, because you have a habit. You show them all that this is what you do, so they don't think anything about it.
But if you wouldn't, then you suddenly, how are you leaving this place with all of this merchandise? Would they not notice that you're leaving
it's
with
in
more
the
than you
Kool-Aid
usually
packet.
How big do you think these
Kool-Aid packets are? How big are these
Listen,
packets?
they fit nearly 1K of merchandise in this Kool-Aid packet. I'm not saying what the merch is, but apparently they did it.
Hey,
they go and fucking rob a diamond store? What the fuck?
A Walmart.
So I don't...
Is this Walmart in Dubai?
I don't think the items were in the packet. I think the packet was just what was used to scan.
Oh.
Like it was like he palmed the Kool-Aid packet, or they palmed the Kool-Aid packet and scanned with it, and that's what allowed them to kind of ring up everything, like ring it up, and then everything else I guess they just took. Because I'm like, there's no way you have $900 worth of thing. What is it? Diamonds? That's probably like
you go to the jewelry section, you just fill the packet up.
But that, I mean, yeah, this one.
Think of all the earrings and like necklaces you could fit in there.
Yeah, if it's that, then I can understand you. He definitely hit the jewelry section. But again, I stand by it. Idiot savant.
Wow.
They had a plan and just maybe didn't execute it well.
Come on, Info. You didn't see reason last time. See reason this time. This guy's clearly... He's clearly up there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wow.
He's definitely something, that's for sure.
I mean, he is... I think we can all agree he's definitely something. Like a convicted felon.
Yeah. Definitely something. Sure.
And he is a thief. Or a wannabe thief. So our last Florida person. This is a former Florida deputy. A now former Florida deputy. He was a Florida deputy at the time. He was accused of giving a gun to a child and telling her to shoot anyone who entered his apartment. And he also allegedly performed an exorcism on a second child. He was arrested after deputies were called to an apartment on Thursday. They said he found the guy with a gun at the apartment, saw a young girl lying on the floor with a rifle. She was wearing a Kevlar helmet and bulletproof vest. She was ready to shoot anyone who entered the apartment. The child told investigators that when she woke up, the former deputy told her there were demons in the house and they needed to burn things that were possessed. The girl said they burned several items in the parking lot and performed an exorcism on her brother. The guy was taken to the hospital for a mental health evaluation. He had been a deputy since 2006 and been fired for reasons unrelated to the incident involving the children. He was arrested after being released from the hospital. He's facing a child abuse charge.
Well then, this one. what do you have to be going through at the time for that to be, you know, what you do? Oh.
I mean, hey. This is the life you live. The fuck sort of drugs this officer smoking?
The wind cocaine.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's the wind cocaine. You know, it's getting in everybody's purse.
Exactly. He just had his purse open. It happens.
Yeah.
You know, judging based off of this guy right here, when they took him in, they gave him a drug test and it came back, and the officer was like, he asked the examiner or whatever, he's like, so what kind of drugs is this guy on? The examiner was just like, yes, and walked away. That's just what it was. Just all of them.
I agree. I think that's the case.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, I want you guys to figure out the ranking of the Florida people this week. I want you to figure this out. I'm gonna be right back real quick. But when I get back, I want to hear what you guys think were the top Florida people of the week and who was not quite up to the stuff.
Interesting.
Well, I definitely think this guy here is at the top.
Yeah, I think this guy is probably the most dangerous of the ones we've seen.
Yeah, I think I'd end up. I'm pretty sure, like, I have an axe, and he definitely has a head that needs to come off, but I'm not so sure that my axe would hurt this guy. Fairly certain I'd probably end up having to shoot this one.
This man has his demons.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I think this one leads the pack, and I'd argue the cocaine in the wind lady is probably the bottom of the barrel, only because she's probably the most harmless.
Probably so. I mean, she did acquire cocaine through the wind, apparently. You know.
Yeah. So you know, maybe not entirely the bottom of the. Maybe not as innocent as she may seem. She knows things.
She's seen things.
She's there's some external forces at work with her. We got the squirrel guys. I placed them in the middle somewhere because they have a squadron. They're not just working alone. They have a group, strength and numbers and all that. So I think they're a little higher in the rank than our idiot savant thief. I gotta place him a little lower. I think he's going for a lot, but I mean, again, also fairly harmless by comparison.
Yeah.
But the potential for harm, I guess, was different. Like this guy had guns involved, for example, whereas none of the others seem to have had, you know, anything potentially violent.
This guy here was ready to bust the motherfucker down.
Oh, without a doubt, and have a child do the same.
Yeah, like he was ready to put a cap in some dude's ass. The others were just trying to do illegal things.
There is one that escapes me, and I can't remember what they were.
Blind squirrel person, the master thief at Walmart, this guy, and then the cocaine woman.
Is there not a fifth? I feel like there was a fifth. If there wasn't, then I'm just crazy.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I can double check
as well, but honestly, I don't know either.
I can double check for you, but I feel like I'm confident it was 4, but it could have been 5.
I may have just
the Florida deputy, the Kool-Aid master thief, the cocaine person, and the flying squirrel. That was the 4. There was no 5th.
Okay,
gotcha.
So what was our final ranking?
So
this guy here was at the top.
Yeah, this guy's leading the charge.
Nice.
And we think the squirrel squadron is probably just under him. They're strength in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to put the cocaine in the wind lady at the bottom, but Infu brought it to my attention that if the wind is placing cocaine in this woman's purse, there's external forces that are at work. So we decided to bump her up.
Yeah.
And I think our thief is at the bottom.
Listen.
Yeah, she's clearly a wind wizard doing very illegal things with her wizardry, so she definitely is above the thief.
Yeah, she has sorcery. There's sorcery involved, so I think the thief is the most, human.
Hey, that makes sense. I can dig it. I can dig the explanation. Although I do think that the woman is clearly innocent and that it was just the wind. Maybe she is an airbender. Maybe she is the Avatar.
It's possible.
Doing a shitty job as the Avatar, then.
She had two of the 4 drugs were already in her possession.
Hey, that's fair. Hey, not every Avatar can be a good Avatar.
No, yeah, you know, it just depends what you do with it after you have it.
That's fair. That's very fair. So, next topic we have this is one that actually got away from us last week. Should defeated agent be humanity's foremost priority? And this person brought up humanity's foremost priority should be the goal that will most greatly reduce the totality of human sufferance, goal by the currently perceived probability. And a lot of big words. That this person said a lot. Like, medicines that defeat aging have at least a 50% chance of being developed within the next 20 years. Keep in mind, that's like a coin toss. Like, I'm gonna flip a coin in the next 20 years and we may be able to solve this agent thing. And given the discussion of their value that will almost certainly occur in the years preceding their arrival, they will, at least with a 90% probability, be made available to most people old enough to need them within 5 years following their arrival. Alright, I want to pause here for a moment. So you think, in the 50% scenario, that in the next 20 years, we get this anti-aging stuff. You think there is a 90% possibility that within 5 years, most people, old people, even specific old people, are going to be able to use this? I don't know where this person lives. They don't live in the United States. If they do, they are very, very silly.
I remember having skimmed through this, and there was one thing that I saw. I think it's coming up actually, in terms of the arguments about it and whatnot. But one thing that I had pulled out was the idea of who this is for, right?
Yes.
Because if it's defeating aging, you know, when do you use that? Do you use it when you've reached a certain age in terms of like you're old now, and do you just stop aging so you can keep existing in that form? Or do you use it when you're younger and you maintain that young, you know, prime body? Like who is it for? When is it going to be used? And if that's the case, then why? Because part of life is, I think it mentions it there, is that, you know, death is like the end. So yes. Death through aging is the natural progression. So you kind of live your life, you make it all the way, you know, assuming things play out, you know, normal, and then you die at the end of it, having aged and experienced things. That never comes, then cool, you just keep experiencing life. But then you have like, you face that, like, maybe not immortality, but you know, the just extended lifespan, which I mean could be good in long term. But again, who does that apply to? Are the younger people going to want that more because they're like, oh man, like I want to keep being young forever? Or are older people going to be like, well, I've lived a good life, but like I kind of want more? I don't know. My biggest thing is just, who is this for?
Yeah, as you said, that's a big thing. Did you read all 4 parts or just the first part?
I honestly didn't even realize, because I skimmed the first part. I didn't realize there were 4 sections.
So there are 4 sections of this. Yeah. Done by 2 people.
Okay.
And
are they just having like a discussion? I guess it's like one person brings it up.
Genesis, response, penultimate, and finale. I'm very curious. Do they sum it up in their finale? Okay, so this is how they see a problem. If the population grows long enough, okay, I feel like, okay, anti-aging, I feel like the average person's gonna want it. Let's be honest. The average person in a perfect world will want it. So, let's go with that logic for this. If the population grows long enough, we'll reach a point where living conditions are so bad that longer life is no longer attractive. This is a function of the fact that an ever-increasing population would leave the Earth with standing room only. We are better off living on Earth than anywhere else. That sounds like a hard opinion based on things we know now. But in 20 years or whatever, that could change.
Epsilon 5 could be a planet that exists somewhere and it's better than Earth. Who knows?
Pluto will be justified and will actually be where the aliens come from.
Pluto's been getting the short end of the stick for so long.
I want to see Pluto make a comeback. I want to see Pluto take us out just because we disrespected them.
Pluto 2021.
Pluto 2021. That's going to be the next.
Pluto 2021.
Exactly. Therefore, we must limit reproduction before things get that bad. We can limit reproduction early and have a spacious world, or later and have a crowded world. A spacious world is much better than a crowded world, therefore we must limit reproduction sooner. Limited reproduction is not worse than aging. That's why I support making life extension widely available, but only if we limit our reproduction. Listen, as someone that doesn't want kids, I think that the argument of limited reproduction is not worse than aging is a flawed argument. Although I would prioritize aging over reproduction, I think a lot of people would definitely prioritize being able to have a children, have a family in a shorter time frame than living a long time and never getting to have that.
Yeah, I think what this kind of implies, it's like, do we live longer and then at a specific, like, basically when people reach a certain threshold of age, at that point you become eligible to then reproduce, so that, for example, let's say the life extends to about another 50 years after the average, so you can live longer. So when you reach maybe the halfway point of that, you kind of adjust for when you normally have, like, on average would have a kid. You then adjust that, and that's when people would start having kids instead. So that it's less having less reproduction and more restructuring when would be the common time, because obviously there's other factors that come into having earlier or later children, but in terms of the average, I guess maybe that just shifts with the aging extension. I don't know, it's an interesting situation overall.
I really want to see it progress, but I don't know how I feel about it. Do you actually want to live longer? I think the terms and conditions, we need a long terms and conditions that is worded correctly in our favor. It needs to be terms and conditions of we live comfortably for longer, not, sure, you'll live longer, but you're not going to feel good.
Yeah, because they say that this everybody's like, this would be for everyone, but like, is it realistically for everyone, or is it going to be this kind of wonder, like, drug or wonder item that only some people can get? And then at that point you get this this like almost dystopian divide of people who can afford it and are living longer, and the people who aren't and want it, and then you have, like, the world just turns into anarchy and everything gets crazy, and then we live in a science fiction movie. That's just the way that things would go, I imagine, with something like this, something this potentially powerful if done well. And then again, it's like, who is it for? In the wrong hands, it'd be people extending their life so they could do more harm to the world. In the right hands, it's people who can be around longer to do more good. So who is it for? Who can have it? And what will it really do?
And it's not like you can't say, oh, we don't like this person, they can't have it. That's not how life works. Actually. Like, oh, you don't like Kim Jong-un? Well, in this scenario, if he's still alive, who's to say he doesn't get it? And now he's living forever.
Yeah, it was a case-by-case thing, and it's like, realistically, especially in the early stages, only a select handful would be able to even think about having it.
Very interesting. Do you think, what's your prediction, in the next 20 years, what do you think the 50-50 goes? I'm going to predict 20 years, we still ain't got it.
Yeah, I think there's too many other things that could happen that are happening, and I think other things that take precedence over extending our lives. Because if it's one thing to extend our lives, but if we like can't really, keep ourselves alive in terms of like maybe the climate or like food or any, all these other problems, and what good is extending our life to live on a planet that's already suffering anyway?
You know what I want them to prioritize instead of us living longer? Why don't you work on a cure for some eczema or something like that that has no cure at all? What do you do with that issue?
Put this 20-year 50-50 energy into, like, you know, more immediate things that are shortening people's lives instead of, you know, regular natural aging.
Yes.
We don't need to defeat aging. We need to defeat, you know, diseases and stuff. But put that effort somewhere else.
Imagine that, though. You can just stay at the age and condition of, like, 30s until you die.
I mean, yeah, once, because I guess different people hit their prime at different times. Once you feel you've hit your prime, just stay there.
I want a respawn button.
Oh, we are.
How are you gonna press it?
Well, that's just it. When you die, have you ever died in the game when you see the screen pop up where it's like respawn?
I have never died in a game. I'm undefeated in games. I have never once died in a game.
Oh, right. Well, you see, when you die, the game pretty much says, get fucked, you suck, and here's your button, press it, and get back out there, champ.
What kind of peasants die in games?
The good kind.
Low skill kind.
If you're not truly dying, then you're not truly good.
I don't think that holds up.
If you don't ever die, then how do you know that you're truly living?
Fair. It's fair. Hey, sometimes you just know.
Yeah, you get that vibe, you get that feeling in the air, you know?
You just know. But yeah, I'm gonna predict 20 years from now we do not have it, that they should prioritize on other things. And yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on that board. Is it a nice thing to think about? Sure, but yeah, there's other things I think that take priority.
I think we should have a real life Fallout before we have a real life anti-agent. Put us all in a vault, freeze us for 100 years, bam, easy.
Yeah, just figure out how to bring us back from ice.
Would you even want to risk it? Like, okay, if they had, like, it's not about the process killing you. You live through the process. You freeze in a vault, you get put in a chamber, you're done. For 100 years. And then it automatically opens. Nobody has to be there. It just opens at 100 years. Do you do that? I don't think you do. Ooh. Even, like, if this happened tonight, I think I'd have to say no, because you do not... Do you trust the Earth's condition in 100 years?
And the people who aren't frozen, like, because I don't imagine this is everyone being frozen. This is just, you know,
you.
Handful. Yeah, so if it's like me, I can't trust that the world isn't going to be, you know, plunged further into shit than it already is. There's no guarantee when I come out 100 years on the other side, it's gonna be better. There's no guarantee that something is gonna go wrong in the middle of it and I'm gonna be pulled out early. Like I'm not gonna be pulled out early. You know, there's all these factors that can go in. Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. It'd be interesting, and you know, the curiosity would be there. It'd be strong. I think I'd resist. I'd resist that urge.
How about you, M2? Would you go inside a vault?
Just make sure you freeze me with a gun and some bullets and we're good to go.
What about your axe?
Well, I can get another axe when I get out.
But
I need the gun
you need to cut off people's heads.
Well, I can do that after I go get one. I need the gun to make sure I get to the axe store.
That's
This
fair.
is fair. This is fair.
So, how did you feel about your time on Back in the Shed?
It was fun. This was a good time. Good conversation. Good vibes. Good jokes here and there. It was a good time. This was fun. Thank you guys for having me.
I'm still not over the Raiden tea.
Oh yeah, dude. We started. I think we started in the perfect place. We started with the bullet stabbing. When you said that you just started the stream because of the conversation, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a good time. I think if you're forced to start because you're just enjoying the pre-stream conversation so much,
it was absurd.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm down for absurdity. It's a fun. It makes things, you know, a little more fun. It's the spice of life.
100%.
When done well, there's crazy absurd that you know we don't associate with, but nice absurd. I'm down for.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was a good time. I think you were a good guest. definitely, we talked about it before we started streaming. You're definitely not worst guest ever. You're not there.
That's the goal, just not being at the bottom.
Yeah, you don't want to be at the bottom, for sure.
I don't think we'll ever have anyone worse than our worst guest ever. It just, I don't think it's possible.
That's what Wes was telling me, and I'm glad that I didn't take that, that seat. That's not a seat I want to dethrone someone on.
That's fair.
I hate to say it, but I feel bad for whoever does. Like, I really do.
I hope you guys never do encounter that person, but if it happens, I also feel bad for them.
I feel like we go through like a process before we bring people on stream. I feel like we kind of avoid it by doing that. Like,
Gotcha.
they would have to go through, they'd have to fool us. And, I mean, to be fair, like, you and I talked, like, what, 20 minutes or so longer before we even started streaming? Like, maybe, like, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, if there was a serious problem with a guest and we had that conversation, I could easily just, like, DM Infu and be like, hey, Infu, I don't think this is gonna work. We need a plan B.
The pre-stream screening, so to speak.
You could say that, Sometimes you get in the seat with somebody else, and they just, while they seem fine on the outside, maybe on the inside, they're just leaking out toxicity, and you just gotta be like, hey, yo, Infu, let's parachute out.
Yeah, let's distance ourselves from this one.
Yeah, let's just bounce.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I'm glad that everything, worked out well. No hiccups or anything.
Exactly.
I hope. And yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
And if anybody does not already watch Rynitsu on Twitch, you gotta go check him out. What are you streaming right now? What game?
I don't know yet, actually. I'm about to start something new this week.
Wow, the command is... I fixed half of it, but not the other half. That's great. A+.
But yeah, we just finished up Layers of Fear, I believe. So I don't know what I'm diving into next, but it'll probably be something else that fits the spooky aesthetic to round out the month.
That's fair. I mean, the month is almost over. You gotta end it with a bang. A short bang, because the month is almost over.
I know Visage is coming up right around the corner, so I mean, that could be the finale. Some PT spiritual successor fun, but we'll see. We'll see what comes out the next few days.
100%. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed Back in the Shed episode 92. We will be back not next week. We will be back in 2 weeks with a new guest. Who's the next guest? I should really keep this in my notes for the ending moment, because every ending I want to say who the next guest is, and I never know it off memory. Oh, the next guest, not from the actor Pat Circle. This is returning guest Ram Splooge, who will be a good time for sure. So that's what you have to look forward to 2 weeks from now. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I hope you have a great rest of your night. See you around if I see you around. Otherwise, I will enjoy talking to you whenever.
Take care, everybody.